You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2652, Chapter 2652, Chapter 566 Opening of the Undead Passageway 4. Chapter 2652, Chapter 566 Opening of the Undead Passageway 4. This was probably what everyone was thinking. Frost God King did not say much and quickly said, "Then I'll go to Prince Gong's residence first. I still have people with me. Try my best not to participate in the battle. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he did not want to give up on the remaining Celestials. All right." Soon, the Celestials split up and the godly monarchs disappeared into the void. As for the undead passageway, with a boom, it completely opened up as death chi filled the world. In the illusion heavenly mirror, the Celestials were all trembling in fear. All of them were somewhat terrified. At this moment, they were trapped in the heavenly troops. They could neither leave nor enter. It was like a cage. Once something happened to the Frost God King, they would be finished. However, in this invincible place, they were powerless. The only thing they could do was pray that the Frost God King was fine. Rumble. The loud sound was heard by them. They could even feel the invasion of death chi. At this moment, a total of 11 extremely powerful death spirits floated in the void. Their wild laughter resounded through the world. "We're out. Filthy land of living beings. Ha ha ha, river map, nicely done. Star moon, very good." The laughter of the undead lords shook the heavens and earth. They had come out. Not only had they come out, but they had temporarily gotten rid of the restrictions of the laws. This was the greatest benefit. If they came out rashly and killed someone, the blade of laws would descend at any moment. Even the undead lords would be hacked to death. At this moment, he too was also full of smiles. Looking at the unrivaled experts escaping, he laughed, but he knew in his heart that it wasn't that these bastards weren't a match for them. They just wanted them to be the troublemakers. "Fine, I'll satisfy all of you." He too laughed and said, "Everyone, since we've come out, it would be a waste of our hard work if we don't kill them. First, kill the small clans for eternity. No, we'll kill the Celestials. I hate them. We'll kill the demons. I hate this clan. No, we'll kill the humans. I remember that I was killed by the humans in the past. Although I don't feel anything anymore, it's better to kill them." At this moment, these monarchs were suddenly unwilling to listen to He too's words. "Since we've all come out, it's more important for us to enjoy ourselves." He too's expression was a little ugly. Just as he was about to argue with them and convince them, he heard Xingyue say coldly, "Kill the immortals first. The immortal race's heaven yuan qi has the effect of suppressing our death qi. Kill these guys first, then take revenge on each other. The immortal race is the public enemy." As soon as she said this, the other undead spirits who were rather close to her quickly smiled and said, "All right, since Xingyue has said so, then let's give Xingyue some face. Everyone, kill the immortals first." He too cursed in his heart. "I was the one who let you all out. Bastards, why are you listening to Xingyue? Xingyue, damn it, she's snatching my right to speak." On the other hand, Xingyue's face was indifferent, but in her heart, she was experiencing this feeling, this special feeling, this special feeling. So, this was the charm of speech. So, I can also be a leader. As long as I deceive these guys will trust me, and they will feel that I am more reliable than he too. Xingyue was thinking, should I bring these guys and kill Suyu? But I was a little reluctant to part with him. Because Suyu made her feel a sense of superiority in terms of intelligence. By crushing these undead lords, she easily became the boss in name. Although everyone only listened to her temporarily, that was enough. As for whether he too was angry or not, what did it have to do with her? Xing Yu sneered and looked in one direction. Then let's kill the immortals together. All right. The 9 undead disappeared in an instant. He too and Dummy were still staring at He too in a daze. He too was so angry that he gritted his teeth. However, he had to fit in. Helplessly, he could only follow along. As for who to kill first and who to target first, he did not have any objections. However, he should not have listened to Star Moon. He too was very unhappy. He kept feeling that he had worked so hard for so many days and released a bunch of ingrates. His credit seemed to have been taken away by some guy. Yes, everyone now felt that the credit belonged to Star Moon. She was the one who sent He too here. It was also Star Moon's people who helped him to get to the 7th level. Everything was related to Star Moon. He too was just a hired thug. Boom! A loud sound reverberated through the world. Soon, Frost God King's voice was transmitted into the illusion heavenly mirror. The immortals are in trouble. I didn't expect them to be the target. Interesting. Frost God King's voice carried a hint of a smile. If the undead came out, who would they kill? This was also a question that everyone was gambling on. The undead targeted whom, yet they still randomly killed. The result proved that the undead targeted the immortals. At this moment, the undead and the immortal king had already come into contact and a huge battle was breaking out. Frost God King heaved a sigh of relief and felt a little regretful. Actually, he wanted the death spirits to target the demons more. This was because the demons had the most experts this time. There were a total of 7 demon kings and one of them was Blood Fire Demon King. This race should be targeted. In the end, they were targeting the immortals. All the races were hiding in the dark, waiting for an opportunity. As for the immortals, at this moment, the immortal kings were about to curse. On a huge mountain peak, Xian He Immortal King said angrily, He too, you want to make an enemy out of us immortals? He too didn't say anything. Go to hell. It's not like PM the one who said I wanted to kill you. What's more, you want to make an enemy out of me. Tuafa laughed out loud, what bullsh asterisk T immortal race, if you have the ability, you can charge into my dead soul realm. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2653, Chapter 2653, Chapter 566 Opening of the Undead Channel 5. Chapter 2653, Chapter 566 Opening of the Undead Channel 5. Undead, you're really not afraid of them. If you have the ability, come and kill me. Who killed who, do you even need to ask? The immortals were rampant in the myriad realms, what was there to be rampant in the undead realm? King Xian He also cursed in his heart and quickly fled. He had no mood to fight with them at all, nor could he win. At this moment, he was extremely angry. He was really unlucky, feeling that all the bad luck was on the side of the immortals. Not to mention that a large number of people had died, now that the dead souls had appeared, their first target was actually the immortals. If this was not bad luck, then what was? The dead souls should be killing randomly. How could they travel together? The 11 dead souls had all come to kill the immortals. There must be something wrong with this. Although he had countless doubts in his heart, he did not have time to think too much. It was very troublesome. The immortals were in big trouble this time. The dead souls did not give up. It could be said that the immortals had withdrawn from the battle. It was even difficult for them to save their lives. In the illusionary heavenly mirror, Su Yu was silently waiting for an opportunity. The Frost God King's luck was not bad. He had been hiding and did not encounter any opponents. If he did not encounter any opponents, Su Yu would not do anything. It was too dangerous. Of course, Su Yu was not completely idle. At this moment, he was still communicating with Xingyu. "Sir, let the fellows from the heavenly abyss race attack the divine race." Very soon, Xingyu replied without saying anything. She simply said, "I don't need you to order me around." Yes, it was that simple. Su Yu did not mind. He just needed to get used to it. On the other side, that invincible from the heavenly abyss tribe had gathered with heavenly curse. At this moment, the alliance agreement in their minds trembled. Kill the celestial race. Heavenly curse frowned slightly and looked at that invincible. He said, "Brother Ling Hen, does this sovereign of the dead spirit have a grudge with the celestial race? Otherwise, why would he want so many experts to attack the celestial race?" Although he was not invincible, at this moment, he was addressing this invincible as a brother, and this invincible did not have any dissatisfaction. He smiled and said, "Don't worry. This time, the winner will definitely be us. It's also a good thing to get rid of some enemies. The celestial, demon, immortal, and celestial races are respected. The other one is the heaven hunting pavilion. After we get rid of these few parties, the things will all be ours." Heavenly curse nodded slightly and revealed a smile. That was true. Therefore, it was necessary to weaken the strength of these races. Then let's find a few celestials who are sure to be invincible and kill them. Heavenly curse said with a smile, "Clean them up one by one, including the other races. Don't cause trouble for some miscellaneous fish." Okay. The two quickly reached an agreement. They did not move together. They quickly separated and went to hunt the other races who were sure to be invincible. On the 7th floor, in a huge canyon, Zhou Yue was grinning from ear to ear. Chaos would be great. A huge bamboo suddenly appeared in his claw. It was incomparably huge and powerful. Zhou Yue struck the bamboo at a quasi-invincible immortal. Now that even immortal kings couldn't protect themselves, it was a good opportunity to kill. "No, I'm not killing anyone. I'm only killing immortals. Roast it and eat it later." That quasi-invincible was so terrified that he quickly fled. He even split himself into two. One was his current body, and the other was his past body. The other party had already made preparations, and escaping was one of them. On the other side, September's rod struck his past body until he was dizzy. In the blink of an eye, his claw reached out and grabbed the other party. His strength was terrifyingly powerful. September was ranked second. The first was Myriad Sage, who had slaughtered two unrivaled vicious. On the other hand, Zhou Yue was suppressing everyone, including Lan Tian and Chang He. This showed just how powerful the other party was. With a single strike, the quasi-unrivaled body was knocked unconscious by him. An ordinary unrivaled expert might not necessarily be a match for him. The powerful Zhou Yue. Zhou Yue had just grabbed a body when a miserable cry sounded from afar. With a PFFT, a sharp claw pierced through the body of the quasi-undefeatable person. Sky Devouring appeared with a vicious gaze as it looked at Zhou Yue. Soon after, it smiled and said, "Brother Zhou Yue, we'll split it 50-50. I killed it myself, not to snatch it from you." Zhou Yue laughed foolishly. With a crack, it took a bite of the body that it had grabbed. It glanced at it and did not say anything. But in his heart, he was thinking, how am I going to eat it when I catch Sky-Devouring beast? Roast it or eat it raw? How dare you steal my food? In the blink of an eye, the two of them killed a quasi-invincible beast. Soon, the two beasts disappeared and went to hunt other prey. Let's eat until we're full. At this moment, slaughter was happening everywhere. The entire 7th floor was shaking non-stop. The undead were fighting, and so were the others. In fact, in the undead passageway, a large army of undead appeared and swept toward the entire 7th floor. There weren't many unrivaled lords, and if the other undead lords wanted to come, they would need more time, so they might not know what was happening here. However, there were many undead armies here. More than 10 quasi-unrivaled undead generals led tens of thousands of undead and swept toward the 7th floor. They wanted to seize the Starry Palace and turn this place into the rear of the undead realm. This was also the intention of the lords. Some of the experts of the small clans hidden in various places on the 7th floor were found and killed. The large clans could still have the protection of an invincible force and take in heavenly weapons and secret realms. The small clans didn't have the capital to do so. They had been hiding in various places and didn't dare to come out and fight for treasures. But now, with the undead covering the area, it was an indiscriminate slaughter. In the outside world, the tunnel continued to break. This time, they broke apart extremely quickly. The experts of the small clans were killed instantly. This was the 15th day of the journey. At this moment, 2,600 tunnels had been broken, and they were still continuing to break apart. When another tunnel broke apart, someone sighed, "Half a month, less than 1,000 people have died." Furthermore, almost all of them were experts from the large clans. Those from the small clans were completely wiped out. Except for a few experts, the rest were all dead. The total number of immortals and dragons alive was around 900. The other clans were invincible and quasi-invincible, and only 100 people had survived. There was still half a month before the Starry Mansion opened. The tunnel was breaking slower and slower. However, everyone knew that it was not that the killing did not continue, but that there were fewer people on the 7th floor. Most of the living people were in the mystic realm or the heavenly soldiers. If someone else died, it would be the death of an invincible person, along with hundreds of people. At that time, it would not be just one or two passages that were broken. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2654, Chapter 2654, Chapter 567 Chaos War Huiwang Mansion L. Chapter 2654, Chapter 567 Chaos War Huiwang Mansion L. 7th floor. Boom! A loud sound was heard as Ice Seal shouted, "Blue Sky, do you want to die? I'm so wronged." The mournful sound was heard again. F***ck your grandpa. Ice Seal could not hold it in anymore. Your wronging was not caused by me. It was done by the demons and immortals. Why are you looking for me? He was also depressed. What has it got to do with me? No matter how grievous you are, I am not the one who wronged you. Previously, you killed a quasi-invincible celestial race warrior, but I did not seek revenge on you. Icebound Godly Monarch was not weak. He was a 4th-level Eternal Realm warrior. Even if Blue Sky was invincible in battle, he was not his match. However, in this godforsaken place, Blue Sky seemed to have communicated with some terrifying existence. Every time he let out a shrill roar, a powerful force would attack his sea of consciousness. This made Frost God Emperor feel a little uncomfortable. Why are you staring at me? I feel so wronged. Many of my avatars have died. I saw it. You have many avatars here. Give me some and I'll leave. Countless blue skies appeared. Their voices sounded aggrieved, as though they were children. You guys destroyed my avatars. I want avatars. He did sense many life auras on Frost God Emperor's side. As expected, the Celestials were all at the frozen Godly Monarch's side. He wanted a clone. Suyu wanted to kill and integrate himself into his civilization. Blue Sky also wanted to kill and unite the 10,000 Daos for him. The frozen Godly Monarch snorted coldly. His surroundings instantly turned into a world of ice and snow. Heaven and earth were frozen, and space was frozen. Blue Sky's clones were instantly frozen. As for Blue Sky, he felt even more wronged. The ice sculptures that were frozen let out mournful roars, "You killed me again, I feel so wronged." Madman! The Frost God King cursed in a low voice. Other people had 3 incarnations, but if they killed 3, they would die. Even if they had avatars, they were only divine symbol avatars or puppet avatars. In fact, it was still very easy to distinguish them. Lan Tian, on the other hand, had avatars that seemed to be his true body. If one of his avatars was alive, it seemed like he would not die. Such a fellow was truly evil and terrifying. It was also very difficult for Lan Tian to use his realm to measure him. This was because he was at the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm. You might think that he was at the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm, but he really wasn't. He probably didn't even know what realm he was at. This fellow had truly walked out of his own path. It was a very abnormal and evil Tao to all races. Kill, refine, fuse, and transform into a clone. If the clone didn't die, I wouldn't die. Such a fellow was too difficult to deal with. Killing and not being able to kill him gave him a headache even if he was invincible. Frost God King ignored him. He sealed the world and quickly left this place. From all directions, another grievous voice sounded, "Frost, you hit me. You killed so many of my avatars. I feel wronged." Powerful resentful voices attacked the entire world. At the same time, within the illusion heavenly mirror, many people suddenly vomited blood. Their faces were pale. The resentful voices pierced through the void and the heavenly soldiers, attacking everyone. The Frost God King was the main target, but they were also affected. At this moment, Su Yu's face was also pale. He opened his aperture and heard more things. "I'm so wronged. Tai Shan, I want revenge. Why did you kill me? I want to kill you, I want to kill you. Tai Shan, where are you? Tai Shan, I'm alive again. I want to live, I want to kill you." Su Yu's face was as white as snow. This fellow, Lan Tian, was really something. He had really stirred up old Zhou's resentment. Old Zhou said that Tai Shan had killed him. Old Zhou might really be dead, but he had not become a dead spirit. Instead, he had become a vengeful spirit. He wanted to recover from the living world, not the dead spirit world. He had a physical body, but his physical body still existed. He had a remnant will, but his remnant will still existed. Therefore, Su Yu deduced that old Zhou might really be able to be revived. And this key point was in the two of them. He and Lan Tian, were stimulating old Zhou's vengeful will, while he had mastered the incantation to activate it. If he shouted, "Tai Shan," for a while longer, old Zhou might really start a riot. Troublesome. Su Yu cursed in his heart. I'm not even sure if I can control myself after what Blue Sky did. Everything is out of my control. At this moment, Zhan Wushuang shouted in the illusion sky mirror, "Seal all 6 senses. Don't listen anymore. Otherwise, you'll die." The group of people sat cross-legged and sealed their 6 senses. Zhan Wushuang and Yuxing didn't. Su Yu didn't either, but he pretended to be sealed. He was thinking, "Is Zhan Wushuang my spy? You are really good. You told people to seal their 6 senses. If I kill them, they might not even know that they have been killed. Are you giving me food?" Now that he was civilized, these 100 people could be killed by him in an instant. Of course, there was also Zhan Wushuang and Yusheng who would resist. This saves me the trouble. As Su Yu was thinking, Zhan Wushuang suddenly threw a punch downward. Su Yu was shocked, but he quickly stopped moving. Sure enough, Zhan Wushuang's punch landed on top of everyone's head, but he stopped. His eyes were sharp as he looked around. Yusheng also flew down and checked. He smiled and said, "That's enough. If that guy really comes, there's a high probability that he's not in our celestial race. Wushuang, there's no need to be so vigilant." "Sorry for the joke, sir." Zhan Wushuang cupped his hands and looked at the crowd below. At this moment, the impact was still there, but it didn't seem to affect him too much. Zhan Wushuang's face turned slightly pale, and the divine light in his eyes burst out again. He said, "Su Yu, if you're here, PLL open the door and let you leave. Our celestial race and your human race are enemies. You killing these people won't change anything. If you really have the strength, after killing and subduing the invincible heavens, the heavens will naturally not dare to be your enemy." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2655, Chapter 2655, Chapter 567 Chaotic Battle at the Hui Royal Mansion 2. Chapter 2655, Chapter 567 Chaotic Battle at the Hui Royal Mansion 2. Silence. Even Yu Sheng was speechless, making a mountain out of a molehill. Firstly, Su Yu might not be here. Secondly, he might not be in the celestial race. Thirdly, Invincible had already investigated several times. Are you more powerful than Invincible? Fourthly, even if Su Yu is really here, am I not still here? No matter how monstrous he is, can he match up to quasi-invincible? It wasn't that Saint Yu looked down on Su Yu, it was just that Su Yu's realm was too low. He was only at the Ling Yun realm. Between Ling Yun and quasi-invincible, there was still the mountain, sea, and sun and moon. Even if Su Yu had displayed the strength of the sun and moon previously, he had only barely reached the high level. He hadn't even reached the 9th level of the sun and moon realm. Zhan Wushuang had suffered a loss last time. Once bitten, twice shy. Wushuang, seal your 6 senses as well. The impact is still very uncomfortable. I'll just watch. There's no need. Zhan Wushuang said in a deep voice and kept staring at everyone. Even though his sea of consciousness was trembling, he did not close his eyes. If he closed his eyes and sealed his 6 senses, it meant that he had given his life to Yu Sheng. He was really worried about others, but Yu Sheng had been reminded by him several times. Even though Invincible valued him, he still expressed that it was fine, that he was not worried, that it was not a big deal. Such a snub made Zhan Wushuang very uneasy. Su Yu was here, in the Immortal Clan, and in the Demon Clan, there was a 1/3 chance. Yes, he bet that Su Yu was among the remaining people of the 3 clans. With such a high chance, the probability of the Demon Clan was actually a little low. Modwa Na was there, and he was being watched by many people. The probability of Su Yu going there was not high. In fact, it was 1/2 chance, yet Yu Sheng still snubbed him. Was quasi-invincibility very strong? Yes, it was. Don't forget how Yang Arc and Zhang Kuei died. The outside world said that Zhang Kuei was killed by Yang Arc and that Yang Arc was seriously injured. Modwa Na killed the other party, nonsense. Zhan Wushuang suspected that Su Yu and Modwa Na were the ones who killed him. At this moment, Su Yu was also speechless. What was Zhan Wushuang doing? Do I have to be in your celestial race? What a boring guy. You still owe me a lot of blood essence. He couldn't be bothered with it. He closed his eyes and rested. His willpower seeped in and continued to spread toward the 109 golden patterns. Now, he didn't have time to care about the ice seal anymore. The entire 7th floor was in chaos. The death aura spread to the 7th floor. A large number of the undead army spread toward the 7th floor. Boom! Outside, the ice seal quickly attacked and blasted one undead away. It sealed the entire world and left again. At this moment, there were too many undead on the 7th floor. It wasn't a problem. Their strength was average. The key was that if there were too many of these things, their positions would be exposed. At this moment, there were battles everywhere. Wherever the battle was intense, there would be people. This was inevitable. Su Yu didn't care about this. You guys fight your own, I'll command Xing Yu to do the work first. If he didn't kill a few invincible undead, would he be worthy of you invincible undead? There were more than 10 of them. How could they be so useless and still haven't killed anyone? Lord Xingyu, if you still can't kill the immortal king of the immortal race, then go to Prince Gong's residence and destroy the 9-leafed sky lotus. There will definitely be someone who will take action. Let's see who will take action and lure out the old fellows in the dark. Let them fight on their own. Of course, if you can kill the immortal fellows first, then kill them first. Also, after you kill invincible, remember to extract the blood essence. Not to mention anything else, the blood essence must be there. Su Yu quickly commanded. Xingyue and the others really couldn't do it. 11 undead lords, so powerful. Now, everyone else was going their own ways. How hard was it for you to kill a few immortal kings? Do I need you to teach me? This was Xingyue's reply. Su Yu didn't take it seriously. I didn't teach you, I only told you how to do it. Seriously. He didn't care anymore and continued to cultivate. He was waiting for an opportunity. He didn't know when this opportunity would come. At this moment, in Prince Gong's residence, the battle was also breaking out. In the backyard, someone wanted to forcefully break in, but before he could do so, he was smashed into pieces by an invincible palm. Soon, a quasi-invincible death spirit appeared in Prince Gong's residence. However, there were no more invincible death spirits. However, someone shouted, "Don't kill quasi-invincible death spirits in the mansion. Otherwise, the death spirit lords of other realms will follow the rules and come here." When there weren't enough death spirit lords in this place, it was no longer useful. There would be death spirit lords from other places. They didn't need to hurry. As if they had heard the call, they could teleport here directly. Therefore, Prince Gong's residence was still a dangerous place. They couldn't easily kill the quasi-invincible realm dead souls. Of course, the dead souls outside didn't matter. These dead souls had broken the rules themselves, so they wouldn't be protected by the rules. The quasi-invincible realm dead souls soon stopped caring about the quasi-invincible realm dead souls. They looked at the 9-leafed sky lotus in the courtyard, their eyes full of heat. 9-leafed sky lotus. However, at this moment, no one dared to get close to it. Whoever got close to it would be doomed. Even if they were invulnerability experts. Most of the invulnerability experts were gathered here. This was the core of the competition. More and more invulnerability experts rushed over. Soon, the head of the Sky Division arrived. When he arrived, he didn't waste any time and threw a corpse into the lotus pond. In that instant, the lotus flowers in the lotus pond instantly absorbed the flesh and blood in the pond. The 9-leafed sky lotus that was in bloom swayed in the wind as if it was about to open its last petal at any moment. The head of the Sky Division said indifferently, "Take advantage of the absence of the immortals to bloom as soon as possible and end the fight." It was best to exclude the immortals. Fewer races, fewer fights. Throwing in a quasi-invincible corpse only made the 9-leafed sky lotuses slightly brighter and faster. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2656, Chapter 2656, Chapter 567 Wui Wang Fu 3. Chapter 2656, Chapter 567 Wui Wang Fu 3. The Minister of Heaven looked at the blossoming lotus and said, "There is still an hour before it ripens." As soon as these words came out, the sound of breathing became a little heavier. Even if invincible, at this time also cannot do as calm as water. So much. It is too difficult to advance to the 3rd level, but with this, you can force your way into the 3rd level and become a half-emperor level powerhouse respected by everyone in the world. Boom! In the distance, the war between the dead souls and the immortals was still going on. Someone said with a faint smile, "This time, the dead souls seem to have their eyes on the immortals." Did the immortals provoke them? They were actually very strange. The dead souls were scattered, and very few people could command them. Even he too couldn't do it in the past. At first it was okay, but later on, the dead souls became chaotic and killed randomly. This caused the dead souls to lose control. An old turtle attacked and killed he too. The first change in the tide ended in he too's hands, and the reason was that these undead were in a mess. If he was really like a soldier, he too naturally had a way to avoid the rules. Unfortunately, he overestimated himself and underestimated the disorganized nature of the undead, resulting in a bitter result. The group of people looked on as a joke. The undead had come, and they had indeed stirred up trouble. At the same time, on the undead side, one of the undead said impatiently, "These bugs are so troublesome. Why don't we just kill them as we please?" Xing Yu felt powerless. These undead lords were not under the control of the rules, so their thoughts were too intense. They had a strong desire to destroy and kill, but they were unable to kill these immortal kings for a long time. They were getting impatient. Xing Yue was also getting anxious. "I just became the leader of the monarch-level necromancers for a while, and I'm going to lose it. Damn Su Yu, what should we do now?" Xing Yue was also anxious. What should they do now? The monarch-level necromancers were too self-centered and couldn't kill a few immortal kings. Everyone was getting impatient and wanted to run away. They were free to find their opponents, targets, and prey. Soon, Star Moon received the news. Seeing that the sovereign of the dead spirit was getting impatient, Star Moon quickly transmitted his voice, "We have to kill the immortals. If we don't kill the immortals, we won't be able to open the portal. Killing the immortal kings is also to prepare for the next time we enter the Starry Mansion. Otherwise, the channel of the dead spirit that he too opened won't last long." The group of dead spirits were surprised. Killing the immortals was related to opening the portal. They looked at He Tuesday. He too didn't know what he knew, but he didn't know how he had teleported here. Seeing everyone looking at him, he quickly said, "This moon and stars might be clearer. Don't ask me. I don't know the situation now, so I can usually fool him." But now that the moon and stars are here, he too felt very uncomfortable. He felt that he didn't know as much as the moon and stars, so it was difficult to fool him. "Then let's kill one." "Moon and stars, is it enough to kill one?" "Barely. 1 drop of blood essence to teleport one, kill one, and extract some blood essence. It should be enough for us to teleport. Of course, it's best if we kill a few more." "Alright, then let's kill." The group of dead souls finally gained momentum. They howled and killed the 5 immortal kings, causing them to flee in all directions. King Xian He and King Yu Shi cursed in their hearts. F***ck. Have the dead souls gone mad? They just stared at them and killed. Quickly go to King Dong's residence and drag the others into the water. Otherwise, they will all be finished. The few immortal kings also quickly transmitted their voices and left. Otherwise, they would really die. Needless to say, the few immortal kings quickly fled in the direction of King Dong's residence. If they were unlucky, they would all be unlucky. Rumble. In the air, time passageways appeared one after another, but they were instantly broken apart by several powerful undead spirits. One immortal king after another was covered in blood while he too continued to fight for a while, causing the faces of the immortal kings to turn pale. All 3 of their bodies were showing signs of crumbling. Just as King Dong's residence was about to arrive, at this moment, he too, and Tua Fa, who had yet to show their strength, suddenly roared. Several unrivaled undead spirits all used their full strength to attack an immortal king. This time, the time passageway was instantly broken. He too struck out with his palm, causing the immortal king to cough out blood. Tua Fa followed up with a punch, directly destroying his opponent's body. Boom! The river of time flowed over. In front of them, some of the fleeing immortal kings turned their heads to look. In front of them, King Xian he shouted, "Let's." What were they still looking at? If they continued to look, they would all be finished. Damn it! The immortal king who turned his head back had a change in expression as he swiftly entered King Gong's manor. As for the immortal king who was intercepted, his expression changed drastically as he roared in rage, boom. The heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. A tunnel of time flowed through, and the other end led straight to King Gong's manor. His 3-in-1 state was shattered, and 3 of his fleshly bodies instantly appeared, instantly destroying one. The second body couldn't stop him for long, and was destroyed by the undead. The third body quickly entered the river of time. In the blink of an eye, it appeared in Prince Gong's residence, and its expression was extremely unsightly. Just as it was about to run deeper, a figure suddenly appeared beside it. Hee, it's mine. In an instant, hundreds of blue skies appeared around it. These blue skies appeared and self-destructed crazily. Rumble. Hundreds of clones exploded, causing the last clone of the immortal king to crumble. With a poochie sound, a jade-like palm pierced through his head, piercing through his sea of consciousness and digging out a vessel. Pang! The immortal king's body exploded and all 3 of his bodies perished. Blue sky. The moon eclipsed immortal king and the others roared. At this moment, they weren't too far away. There were still some clones in blue sky. They laughed sinisterly and said, "Being invincible is easy to kill." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2657, Chapter 2657, Chapter 567, Battle Royale King's Mansion 4. Chapter 2657, Chapter 567, Battle Royale King's Mansion 4. A group of unrivaled experts cursed angrily. Easy to kill. This unlucky person had 2 reincarnations destroyed by the undead, and his 3rd reincarnation was severely injured. He was ambushed by you, a bastard, and you killed him. You. There was no time to say anything. At this moment, even within the Starry Sky Mansion, a large amount of blood clouds appeared. It spread to the outside. It spread to the heavens. And above Lan Tian's head, a cloud suddenly appeared. In the next moment, 6 or 7 invincible figures instantly appeared. A demon king was incomparably cold and fierce as he slashed down with his axe. Heaven and earth rewards. This meant that this clone was perhaps Lan Tian's main body. Lan Tian had killed an invincible figure, so he naturally had a reward. He wasn't a dead spirit. Lan Tian bitterly shouted. It wasn't easy for him to get a reward, so he shouted, "Su Yu, what are you doing?" The invincible spirits instantly turned their heads. Ordinary people could ignore them. Su Yu, that was something that had to be dealt with. When they turned their heads back, there was nothing. The Demon King didn't care about this at all. His axe had already chopped down at Lan Tian. This axe was extremely powerful. Lan Tian, this evil creature, had to be killed. He was just as evil as Su Yu. How heartbreaking. Lan Tian had a helpless look on his face. With a boom, he was hacked into pieces by the axe. All the clones around him instantly disappeared as if they were dead. However, soon, a demon king shouted, "He's not dead." He was dead. There were anomalies. At this moment, another Lan Tian walked out from a distant place. Soon, another Lan Tian appeared, but his aura was a little weaker. Lan Tian's face was filled with grief. "It's over. One of my main bodies was killed by you guys. It's over, it's over. My strength has declined." His strength had indeed declined, and the one who was killed was indeed one of his main bodies. However, it was just one of his main bodies. At this moment, those unrivaled experts felt like exploding. He didn't even die. The rewards from the laws of heaven and earth weren't even his real body. Damn it. Or could it be that this fellow really didn't have his real body anymore? On the 7th level, the battle was intense. There was slaughter everywhere. Outside, blood clouds pervaded the air. In the immortal race, the group of immortal kings had ugly expressions on their faces. The first immortal king to die was from the immortal race. They guessed that an invincible immortal king would die this time. However, the first immortal king to die was from the immortal race. This was something that these people couldn't accept. With a sigh, Chingu's voice became much more ancient. An immortal king had died. Among the 5 immortal kings, one had actually died. What about the others? Also, on Quasi-Invincible's side, 4 immortals had entered. Now, they were gone. Yes, they were gone. They were all killed. Not a single one was left. At this moment, only 4 immortal kings were left in the immortal race. There were less than 200 ordinary geniuses and experts. The group of immortal experts were all bitter. Who killed them? The immortal race was really unlucky this time. The geniuses were the first to die, the quasi-invincible ones were the first to die, and the immortal kings were the first to die. They didn't dare to say that they were all dead. They were afraid that it really came true. 5 immortal kings. If all of them really died, the immortal race would also vomit blood. Previously, many immortal kings' 3 lives were destroyed. If a few more died, the immortal race's vitality would be greatly damaged this time. Although the Jigu immortal king's strength isn't too strong, in an eternal battle, unless the disparity is too great, who else can kill him when all 5 immortal kings are present? An immortal king coldly replied, there shouldn't be many who can kill him. Evidently, they were suspecting that it was the Sky Division's minister or the Bloodfire Devil King who killed him. These 2 were the strongest. As for the Sky Hunter Pavilion in the Devil race, they didn't say anything. With the current situation, they had no way to judge from the outside. Within the Starry Manor, as the remaining immortal kings fled into King Gong's manor, they were much more invincible. As for the outer regions, the dead spirits didn't dare to enter recklessly. Especially the Origin Convergence Saber, this made the dead spirits even more fearful. Xingyue's position as the leader was now useless. Tuo Fa transmitted his voice, after killing an immortal king, I didn't extract much blood. I only extracted 4 drops of blood essence. The rest were all destroyed. Xingyue, have you seen enough? Xingyue took the blood essence and knew that these fellows were getting impatient. She didn't say anything more and transmitted her voice, use it for. When the dead souls heard this, they felt relieved. No matter what, in the next moment, the dead souls disappeared on the spot without saying a word. He too looked at Xingyue coldly. After the other undead left, he said, do you think that the undead are so easy to control? Xingyue, do you want to unify the undead realm? Xingyue looked at him as if he was an idiot. When did I say that? What a strange guy. He too didn't bother to say anything to her. He said coldly, by the way, where is the little guy you transformed into? If I remember correctly, he seems to have been transformed by you. He's not dead, right? He too said faintly, that guy offended me. Xingyue, tell me where he is and I'll kill him, of course, I'll make it up to you. Xingyue looked at him with cold eyes. A moment later, she replied, he disguised himself as Modwa of the demon race. At this moment, he should be in the Demon King's heavenly weapon or secret realm. It's good that you killed him. This guy is very torturous. He too was skeptical. He didn't want to stay with Xingyu anymore. Soon, he wanted to leave with a blank expression. After thinking for a while, he suddenly snorted and looked at Blank. Follow Xingyu. After saying that, he disappeared. Blank looked at Xingyu with a blank expression. Xing Yu looked at him with a blank expression. Why are you following me? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2658, Chapter 2658, Chapter 567, Battle Royale Royal Residence 5. Chapter 2658, Chapter 567, Battle Royale Royal Residence 5. This fellow seems to have just recovered. There's no use for him to follow me. He's just a fool. He doesn't know anything and has no brain at all. Just as Xing Yue was about to chase him away, the aura of death rippled for a moment. In the illusionary sky mirror, Su Yu was helpless. A bunch of useless dead souls had dispersed just like that. Yet, they still wanted to kill their way out of the dead souls realm and start a war with the living beings. They were so impatient. At least they had killed an immortal king. It was still alright. However, out of the 11 dead souls that had surrounded and killed 5 immortal kings, only one had been killed. One had to admit that their strength was only so, and their ability to work together was even more mediocre. Otherwise, with he too, Tuafa, and a rather powerful immortal king, wouldn't it be a piece of cake to kill an immortal who didn't have a rank 7 eternal realm? Just as he was feeling regretful, he received a message from Xing Yu. A newly awakened undead spirit was thrown to me by he Tuesday silly, do you think I should throw it away? Su Yu was speechless. He could tell that Xing Yu was a little impatient. F***ck. Such a good opportunity. Such a good fighter. And you want to throw it away? No wonder you're so mediocre. He had seen that silly undead before. It was very strong, but it seemed that he did not have many memories. Su Yu quickly said, bring it can save lives at critical moments. How can you throw away such a strong undead? You undead are really hopeless. At this moment, Su Yu hated himself for not being strong enough. Otherwise, he would even want to pretend to be an undead and become a boss. The dead spirit realm was too strong. In the end, it was just a pile of loose sand. With the same number and strength, they could not defeat the other races. No wonder the other races dared to let them in. If it were not for Su Yu having Xing Yu unite with the other dead spirits, the immortal king of the immortal race would not have been killed. All right then. Xing Yu replied and quickly added, you don't have to teach me. Since when did I need you to teach me? Then what should we do now? Prince Gong's residence is filled with the eternal life of the living world. Tuafa and the others have run away. They don't dare to go to Prince Gong's residence because they are afraid of the Gue. Yuan Dao. Now, they are looking for living beings outside. Xing Yue asked again. Su Yu thought for a moment and said, wait for a while. It's fine. Sooner or later, they will gather at Prince Gong's residence. The dead souls will also gather there. All of you dead souls have the heart to kill. When all the dead souls outside die, they will naturally come to Prince Gong's residence. Xing Yu did not want to bother with him. However, Su Yu was right. The dead souls indeed had the heart to kill. This was the rule. All the dead souls wanted to charge into the living world. This was also a kind of nature. The nature in their bones could not be changed. Therefore, the dead soul's sovereign was in those passageways. They would charge out again and again. The moment they woke up from the dead soul's heavenly river, they had the thought of going to the living world and killing their way out. The powerful undead could still restrain themselves, but the weak ones could only act according to their nature. Hearing Su Yu's words, Xing Yue was too lazy to say anything more. Finally, she replied, oh right, after killing that guy, I only took 4 drops of blood essence. Do you want it? If you want it, I can give it to you. You can serve me well. Of course. Su Yu was overjoyed. Xing Yue had actually gotten the blood essence. 4 drops. Not bad. Even if he took 1 drop to open the interface, 3 drops would be enough for him to fight for dozens of minutes. The prerequisite was that he would not die if he took the invincible blood essence. Now, it might still be a little difficult. However, he should be able to transform a few more times. As Su Yu and Xing Yue communicated, more and more survivors began to gather at Prince Gong's residence. The most dangerous place was now the safest. Outside, the undead were already overflowing. As the undead monarchs stopped gathering and ran around, it was not safe anywhere. Some of the well-hidden fellows were found and killed by the undead monarchs. Some were directly converted into undead. In King Gong's residence, everyone on the 7th level gradually gathered. Including the ice-sealing divine king, he also brought Su Yu and the others and entered King Gong's residence. When they met up with the other divine kings, one of the invincible ones died, but quasi-invincible and Sun Moon died many times. The light from the Sun Moon crash continued to rise from the 7th level. In the backyard, where the 9-leafed heavenly lotus was, the invincible ones were circling around. They didn't enter, but they didn't retreat either. As the immortal kings arrived, everyone remained silent. The immortal race had suffered a great loss this time. The immortal kings also had gloomy expressions. They had bad luck. As for King Xian he recovered his yuan qi and said coldly, "Everyone, the immortal race has no intention of snatching the 9-leaf sky lotus this time. However, there is a condition for the immortal race to withdraw." As he said this, Zhu Tianfang sighed in the crowd. "Don't ask, it has something to do with the human race." This was inevitable. These fellows had always been like this. Even if the gods, demons, and immortals were beaten to a pulp, they would still seek out the human race at the last moment. As expected. "Xian," he said coldly, "it's fine if the immortal race doesn't participate in the battle, but there is one person who must be killed, Su Yu." This king suspected that he was hiding on the human race's side. The human race had the largest number of survivors. Either we kill them all or, release their seize of will and allow us to investigate. Everyone, killing Su Yu isn't just the intention of the immortal race. Everyone knows how important Su Yu is. If we don't kill Su Yu, the strength of the humans is not as simple as it appears. Zhu Tianfang did not want to say anything. He had really guessed it. As expected, the Celestials had suffered a loss. Now, they wanted to seek revenge from the humans. And Su Yu was indeed the target that everyone wanted to kill. If the Celestials withdrew and the humans were forced to withdraw, everyone's competitiveness would be greatly reduced. If they could find Su Yu and kill him, that would be even more perfect. At this moment, in the illusion sky mirror, Su Yu was also extremely silent. These guys had to kill every single one of them. They were too despicable. They had been finding trouble with him time and time again. Now, they had targeted the humans several times, using his name to make the 10,000 races target the humans. Although Su Yu said that he didn't owe the humans anything. However, the humans did seem to have been implicated by him a few times. Su Yu felt a little helpless and angry. They could not kill me, yet they forced the humans again and again. The Celestials were really shameless and annoying. They should have killed all of you and exterminated your entire race. Su Yu suppressed the anger in his heart. It seemed that he could not change anything now. Only the 9-leafed sky lotus was left. He used his willpower to look outside at the 9-leafed sky lotus. The last petal was slowly blooming. Very soon, it would completely bloom. The immortal race. If I can kill Invincible, I can let anyone go. Not even one of the immortals. Su Yu secretly swore in his heart. This race had completely angered him. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2659, Chapter 2659, Chapter 568, Qin Spear, L. Chapter 2659, Chapter 568, Qin Spear, L. Do you really have to target the human race? At this moment, Xia Longwu's expression was ice-cold. Even at this point, the immortal race still had to target the human race. Time and time again, it was the immortal race that was stirring up trouble. In that case, what were they waiting for? With a loud shout, a blade light reflected the heaven and earth. Xia Longwu directly struck out with his blade. At the same time, Mayor Qin charged out with his spear. He laughed and said, "I've long said that the immortals are the troublemakers. This race has been stirring up shit for many years. Whoever dares to mess with them is a typical SL*T. I have no choice but to beat them up and submit. Humans, gods, and demons have been fighting for many years. Only this SH*T immortal race has been cultivating and rarely dies. They've probably forgotten the pain. The immortal race had always maintained a stance. Whoever forcefully suppressed them would be suppressed. When the gods and demons were powerful, they would ally with the human race to fight against them. However, the human race was the vanguard, and the human race had no choice but to do so because the situation was dangerous. When the human race became stronger, the immortal race felt that they were going to suppress them, and they would turn around and deal with the human race. B*Cheese are so pretentious. Booming sounds reverberated through the heavens and earth. Zhu Tianfang and Zhou Polong had made their moves. Zhu Tianfang laughed faintly and said, "Let us kill the immortal race to our heart's content. After exterminating the immortal race, we have suffered heavy losses, and we have no strength to fight anymore. If you want to kill us, it's better to fight until our blood is depleted than to fight until our blood is full. If we lose, we will be destroyed by the immortals. The immortals will no longer have the ability to compete. Otherwise, the so-called withdrawal will only be a joke. How can we not fight? Everyone, I hope that you will not get involved. If we do not fight this time, we will not give up." As he finished speaking, a total of 12 divine runes appeared in the sky. The entire sky froze. The 4 unrivaled humans fought against the 4 unrivaled immortals. At this moment, the humans' attitude was clear. They would not rest until the immortals were dead. "King Xian," he roared, "don't believe their words, he. Hong. You're the one who talks too much." Xia Longwu slashed out with his saber. He was a level 4 Eternal Realm expert, while his opponent was a level 5 Eternal Realm expert. There wasn't much of a difference between them. At this moment, his saber slashed out, splitting the heavens and earth apart. "Whoever dares to interfere, kill them." The 8 unrivaled experts instantly tangled together, and rumbling sounds shook the heavens and earth. Numerous unrivaled experts appeared and looked at the 8 unrivaled experts, all of them remaining silent. If the immortal race really wanted to do this, then let the immortal race and the human race fight. The human race's attitude was very clear. Today, no one was going to fight, and they were going to fight the immortal race. 4 against 4, they would be responsible for their own lives, and whoever was weaker would die. The 2 sides instantly tore apart the void, and the 8 experts tangled together. The long spears struck out, and the light from the blades flickered, and divine runes surged. The entire void was continuously shattered by the 8 unrivaled opponents. Booming sounds reverberated through the heavens and earth, and a mighty pressure shook all directions. It spread out, and some wandering dead souls were instantly shattered. In the imperial residence, more and more dead souls came out because of the rules. It was fine if the dead souls outside the rules were killed, but the dead souls inside the rules were killed more and more. The battle between the human immortals began. 4 versus 4, Zhu Tianfang suppressed the other party, Xia Longwu was evenly matched, Zhou Polong barely managed to face the enemy, and Qin Zhen rampaged for 3 moves. After 3 moves, he was suppressed by that Eternal 4 Dan expert. However, this expert had been leading the army for many years. He hadn't learned anything else, but he had learned one. He wouldn't back down even if he was beaten to death. You give me a sword, I'll give you a spear. My injuries are more severe than yours, but I might not be able to endure it. In an instant, the 8 invincible experts were fighting to the point that the heavens and earth were collapsing. At this moment, the other invincible experts didn't dare to act rashly, nor did they want to. Once they acted, they would be easily drawn into the war. At this moment, the Sky Division head wasn't polite and transmitted his voice, whichever side is about to die, join hands and throw them out. Don't die here, and attract the undead lords within the rules. You guys fight. The invincible ones didn't have any objections, but they could still move them if they joined hands. It was better not to die here. Even if they died here, it would be best if they were killed by the Origin Convergence Saber. This was the power of the rules, so it was fine to kill people. Otherwise, the killing of others would attract the undead lords. The 11 undead lords were all outside, so it was easier to deal with them. If they were killed, so be it. It wasn't a big deal, but if you killed the undead lords within the rules, it would be like an endless swarm of locusts. The dead spirit world would send a batch of undead lords over. Inside the illusionary sky mirror, Su Yu watched silently. The 8 unrivaled human immortals were engaged in a fierce battle. They killed until the sky and earth cracked, and some of the unrivaled human immortals were already bleeding. Qin Zhen was suppressed, and Zhu Tianfang's opponent was also suppressed by Zhu Tianfang to the point that he couldn't raise his head. Neither side thought about changing opponents. They only thought about who killed the other first, and who would win first. Once they killed an invincible, 4 against 3, they would definitely win. And right at this moment, while they were fighting, the invincible and the fiend god suddenly sent each other voice transmissions. Although it was said to be voice transmissions, it was actually not. It was the fiend gods who separated the 4 sides, and the invincible began to discuss. If the immortals are defeated, will we kill the humans? Definitely. The key is when to kill them. Should we wait for the immortals to die, or wait for them to fall into a disadvantageous position? It depends. At the very least, we have to wait for the humans to be exhausted before we kill the humans. At this moment, regardless of whether it was the celestials or the demons, not only were invincible listening, those god-fiend geniuses who had not sealed their 6 senses could actually hear them. It was as if the 2 races felt that these people had sealed their 6 senses, so there was no need for them to send voice transmissions. In the heavenly illusion mirror, Su Yu's eyes were closed, and his expression was ferocious, as if he had suffered an impact. He knew. Yes, he knew that the 2 races had done it on purpose. They were deliberately saying that they wanted to lure him out. Yes, that must be the case. They guessed that they might be among the people of the 2 races, but they were still hesitating whether or not to kill them all. Therefore, they were probing, or rather, scheming. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2660, Chapter 2660, Chapter 568, Qin Spear. Show subscribe, 2. Chapter 2660, Chapter 568, Qin Spear. Show subscribe, 2. They were waiting for Su Yu to take the initiative to come out. As expected, another invincible sneered, the humans are really unlucky. They were tricked by Su Yu and Lan Tian quite a bit. These 2 fellows killed them quite happily. What's the result? I think the humans are doomed this time. They are public enemies to begin with, yet they still dare to be so ostentatious. Invincible spoke one after another as if they were really discussing something. In reality, they were waiting for Su Yu to make a move. At this moment, a weak willpower was also patrolling in the illusion heavenly mirror. Su Yu turned a deaf ear to it. However, it was a rapidly fluctuating aura of death, an extremely weak aura of death. Can we rush in? Let's rush in together. I need your help. At the crucial moment, let's rush in. I need it. Xing Yu did not reply. Rush in? She did not mind. The other undead were all in a mess. They would not listen to her. Beside Su Yu's ear, another invincible sneered, the human race is doomed this time. I saw it. Those people are all in Zhu Tianfang's secret realm, in a divine text. Once the human race dies in eternal battle, everyone who comes in will die. Now, let's see if Su Yu and Lan Tian have the guts to come out and attract attention. Are they that stupid? Besides, I heard that the great Ming King seems to have come in. It doesn't matter. The blood fire demon king of our race is biting him. He doesn't dare to move, nor can he move. If he moves, Lord Bloodfire will take him down. They were telling Su Yu or Lan Tian that there was no other way out for them now. The only way out was to come out on your own. As for whether they would be killed instantly after coming out, that would depend on your methods. If you came out, even if we wanted to kill you, we couldn't be bothered to target the humans. Do you think I'm an idiot? Su Yu snorted in his heart. I'm not that stupid. If these people really died, he could at most avenge them. If he didn't have the confidence to survive, then he would be an idiot if he came out. Unless, when he had the confidence to come out, nothing would happen. Su Yu could still consider attracting everyone's attention and create an opportunity for the undead to snatch the nine-leafed sky lotus. As for now, he wouldn't come out even if he died. And right at that moment, Star Moon's message came. I and that idiot can go in, and there are 2 other undead lords who can go in. As for the rest, there's no other way. They simply ignore it. These idiots have already forgotten who allowed them to come out freely. Star Moon was furious. Ingrate. She contacted those undead, but in the end, some of them ignored her. A bunch of ingrates. Did they forget that it was I who gave you the opportunity to come out? Of course, she had also forgotten that it had nothing to do with her. Su Yu did not say much, he quickly said, that's fine too. It's best if you don't come in. Let that idiot kill his way in. Put the invincible essence blood on a sun and moon dead soul and mark it with your death aura. I'll go look for it. Don't give it to me directly. Just let that dead soul get close to the frozen godly monarch. Also, if I show up, let the Heavenly Abyss clan hunt me down. Also, I have a high chance of showing up when the 9-leafed Heavenly Lotus blooms. Your main target is the 9-leafed Heavenly Lotus. There's a time passage behind the 9-leafed Heavenly Lotus. Be careful. Also, this thing opens 9 times. Each time, there's actually only 1 petal. Yes, the 9-leafed Heavenly Lotus might look mature now, but it actually didn't. There was actually only 1 petal that could be opened at a time. Only after opening it 9 times would it be complete. Of course, after opening it once, it would be much simpler later on. As for Su Yu, he was thinking at that moment. Did he have a way to first snatch 1 or 2 petals, then transform his Yuan Qi a few times and consume the invincible essence blood? At that time, he would have invincible combat strength. Taking advantage of his unprepared state, he might be able to kill an invincible person. He no longer cares about the invincible gods. If you have the ability, go up and kill them now. Xia Longwu and the others are not easy to deal with. If I say who will kill who, do the gods not know the character of humans? If I interfere now, even if they are killed by the immortals, I will kill the guy who interferes. Are the gods willing? Boom! Qin Jin flew backward, his body trembling. His 3 bodies were on the verge of being scattered. Once the invincible 3-body unity state fell from the state of unity, his strength would drop by a lot. Once 1 or 2 of his 3 bodies were killed, his strength wouldn't be much stronger compared to quasi-unrivaled. At this moment, beside Qin Zhen, the power of time circulated around him as the shadows of his 3 bodies appeared. That was a sign that he was about to collapse as he fell from the state of unity. Qin Zhen's entire body was covered in blood as he laughed, "Bastard, your strength isn't bad. You actually managed to barely suppress me after living for tens of thousands of years. Is this the little fairy that this general killed your wife?" The immortal king opposite him was none other than the lunar eclipse immortal king. At this moment, the lunar eclipse immortal king coldly glanced at him. He couldn't be bothered to talk to him. From the corner of his eyes, he glanced at Zhu Tianfang. Zhu Tianfang was currently suppressing the other immortal king. The battle caused the river of time to ripple non-stop, but the condition of the other immortal king was slightly better than Qin Zhen. It all depended on whether Qin Zhen could hold on for a long time or that immortal king. As for the other two areas, Xia Longwu and Zhou Polong were barely holding on. This was an outcome that the immortals did not want to see. However, the immortals did not expect the humans to be so decisive and directly charge over. The immortals had not participated in any major battles in the past few years and had been exerting their strength behind the scenes. The humans had only risen to power a few hundred years ago, and they had always relied on the immortals and had a lot of respect for them. But now, they had turned against them. The speed at which the human race fell out wasn't any slower than them. In fact, it was even more straightforward. In truth, the Eclipse Immortal King had also thought wrongly. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2661, Chapter 2661, Chapter 568, Qin Spear, 3. Chapter 2661, Chapter 568, Qin Spear, 3. If the other humans were invincible, they would all be old foxes and would not fall out so easily. The key point was that this time, they were invincible. Xia Longwu was bloodthirsty, Qin Zhen was belligerent, and the other two were not old either. They were the most capable and belligerent of the new generation. How could they be polite to them? Sigh. A sigh sounded from a corner and a shadow appeared. Not far away, a blood-red figure also appeared. With his hands behind his back, he looked at the shadow. With a light smile, he said, "How about you don't interfere? The one from the Sky Division is still here. If you and I interfere, he will definitely win." As for Xia Longwu and the others, young people naturally have their own thoughts. The shadow smiled and said, "I'm not old either." The Sanguine Inferno Demon King laughed but didn't want to say anything. He looked at the sky again and asked, "Do you think Qin Zhen will collapse first or Guangran will collapse first?" Guangran, the fellow that Zhu Tianfang suppressed. His strength wasn't weak either. He was at the 5th stage of eternity. The 4 immortal kings on the immortal side weren't weak either. 2 of them were at the 5th stage and 2 of them were at the 4th stage. They were all experts. The key was to see which side would pull out their men first. And even if the human side won against the immortal side, the consequences would be hard to predict. Aning didn't speak. The Bloodfire Devil King laughed lightly. Qin Town should collapse first. Sometimes, strength isn't something that can be sustained with a single breath. Strength is strength, right? Aning still didn't speak. The Bloodfire Devil King laughed. "I like Qin Town very much. When I was young, I was the same as him and Xia Longwu. But later, I realized that it was useless. My strength was not as good as that guy, so that guy was the Demon Emperor, while my race could only be the vanguard. It's not that I dare to fight and kill, but that I can be looked up to by others. It still depends on my strength." Aning said calmly, "It's fine if he really died, but it's not like the human race has never died for eternity. After generations, the eternity that the human race has died can be piled up into a mountain. Out of the 10 tidal changes, which one of them doesn't have dozens of human eternity?" "That's true." Shuehua smiled and said, "Then, do you think that Lan Tian or Su Yu will appear?" "Why would they appear?" Shuehua smiled and said, "If they appear, there's still a chance to attract the attention of other parties. If they don't appear, the few humans won't be able to escape the calamity. Everyone will kill them. What about you? Me? I'm only responsible for keeping an eye on you. Aning sighed and said, your target is the 9-leafed sky lotus, so how about I quit? You've reached the 3rd level of the immortal soul stage, so you can still fight for it. As for the war between the human race and the immortal race, why does the demon race have to get involved? I don't care about that. The point is, we still have to kill Su Yu and Lan Tian. Shuehua also said coldly, Lan Tian is abnormal, so I'm confident that I can suppress him. Su Yu isn't too abnormal, and he's not even as powerful as Lan Tian. However, Su Yu has attracted the attention of the sacred city and the ancient god-devouring clan. If we don't kill Su Yu today, there might be many eternal demons who will die because of Su Yu. He said seriously, if you want to blame someone, blame him. The human race is unable to protect him. If the human race had the ability to suppress the heavens, then Su Yu could live well. However, the human race doesn't have it. Even if Su Yu says that he will cut off all ties with the human race is still a race. If the human race is really destroyed, do you think the forces of the sacred city will join the human race? Aning no longer spoke. Yes, kill Su Yu. In order to kill Su Yu, the gods and demons were also preparing to make a move. Otherwise, the best outcome would be for the humans and the immortals to fight to the end. They could not be bothered to care about how many undefeatable figures the two races would lose. The heavenly lotus is about to bloom. Aning muttered, but Shuehua smiled and said, what's the rush? The 9 blooms are just the beginning. If we are not in a rush now, that fellow from the heaven hunting pavilion knows what to do. As they were talking, Qin Zhen was sent flying again with a rumble. His body was covered in blood, and the river of time around him broke apart. The 3 bodies suddenly separated, creating 3 Qin towns. This was not a sign of strength. This meant that he could no longer maintain his 3 bodies as one. The 3 Qin towns were all covered in blood. One of them, Qin Zhen, who was wearing an armor, was a little angry. He roared, trash, why is my future so trash that I can't even kill an old fart? Beside him, another Qin Zhen, who was dressed in ordinary clothes, spoke in a depressed tone, nonsense, how long has he lived? How long have I only lived? Both of you shut up. Qin Zhen, who was in the middle, roared in anger, what time is it already? What nonsense are you talking about? Even if I die today, I will tear this bastard into pieces. On the other side, the moon eclipse immortal king had an indifferent expression on his face as his body flickered with light. Some of his gunshot wounds were rapidly recovering. Not only that, one could faintly see 5 huge waves appearing on the river of time. The eyes of some people flickered. After fighting for so long, everyone could tell that the moon eclipse immortal king was already at the 5th stage. As for Qin Zhen, he was only at the 3rd stage because he had attained the Tao in the heavens. In reality, he was even weaker than a 3rd stage immortal king. When fighting alone against the other party, both parties would fight to the death without retreating. There was no escaping, no evading. It was a battle of life and death. It was inevitable that Qin Zhen wouldn't be able to win. Under normal circumstances, Qin Zhen would flee. However, at this moment, he couldn't escape. Even if he was a level 5 Eternal Realm expert, killing a level 3 Eternal Realm expert wouldn't be that easy. However, once he fought to the death, it would be different. If Qin Zhen fled now, the other 3 would be finished. They couldn't escape. Whoever ran would definitely lose and die. Even if they fled, they wouldn't be able to escape. There were 11 undead monarchs waiting for them at the periphery, and even if they escaped with heavy injuries, they would still die. Outside, he too and the other undead watched the battle in the sky above Prince Gong's residence. He too's eyes kept flickering. Human. The glory of the human race. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2662, Chapter 2662, Chapter 568 QJN Spear, 4. Chapter 2662, Chapter 568 QJN Spear, 4. Some memories kept emerging. The glory of the human race. That was what his father had taught him in the past. After his death, he had long forgotten about it. It was when he had seen the star map left behind by Su Yu that he remembered something. At this moment, he too muttered to himself. The glory of the human race. I don't seem to be a human anymore. I am a dead spirit. I have already forgotten all that. I have already started over. The current he too is no longer the same he too from all those years ago. Father. As he muttered, he too's eyes flickered. He seemed to be recalling the past, recalling some of the things that happened when he was young. He thought of his father. He thought of his father's words before he died. He felt that he should cry. But he didn't. He was a dead spirit. Dead spirits seemed to have no other emotions other than anger. Dead spirits were not afraid of death, even if it was just a disguise. Dead spirits were actually not afraid of death. Dead spirits lacked many things. They were like marionettes, but in fact, they had always lived under the rules. From the moment they were born, they were filled with hatred, killing intent, and anger. There was only one thought in their minds. Kill back to the living world. Make all the worlds in the world turn into the dead soul's realm. Feelings? No. They had no feelings. Sometimes, when memories surfaced, they would subconsciously fake those feelings. For example, when he thought of his father, he wanted to cry, but he could only pretend to cry. He was actually not sad at all. His heart was calm. I'm a dead spirit. He too mumbled in his heart. He felt that based on the memories he had recovered, he should help the humans. However, he did not because he felt that these creatures deserved to die. At this moment, his emotions were slightly complicated. Aren't you sad? Aren't you angry? Only anger. He too mumbled. In the next moment, he revealed a smile. Anger. Yes, we only know how to be angry. Since that's the case, shouldn't I give the immortals some anger? He suddenly thought of something. He suddenly looked at the immortals. He was furious. Boundless anger. These fellows deserved to be killed. Since he couldn't love them anymore, he should go and hate them. In the distance, Xingyue's heart was actually very calm. At this moment, she didn't feel angry at all. There was only an indescribable sense of loss. She wanted to kill Su Yu, but she also didn't want to kill him. This fellow, Su Yu, had been giving her orders all this while. How annoying. However, even though it was annoying, Xingyue still had some small expectations. It had been a long time since she had experienced other tastes, such as satisfaction and excitement after stimulation. He still wants to help the human race, is that right? Xingyue muttered in her heart. She looked at the dazed person beside her and revealed a puzzled expression. What are you looking at? Were you a human when you were alive? When she saw the dazed person, she seemed to be looking at the human race with a complicated expression. At this moment, the dazed person was still a little dazed. She nodded and said, perhaps. Yes. I seem to want to help them. But I don't want to help them. Undead spirits. Xingyue sighed, you haven't recovered much of your memories, so you're still unable to understand such complicated things. I wonder if I would still be the same as I am now if I were to really be resurrected one day. I think that I have really been resurrected, and I have recovered all of my memories and emotions. I will definitely kill that fellow. I hate him so much. In my memories, no one would dare to bully me like this, but right now, other than anger, I don't have many other thoughts. Dazedly, what about you? A dazed expression appeared on Qin Zhen's face. I don't know. As expected, you are an idiot. The dead souls are all idiots. Very stupid. The smart ones are still alive. Only idiots are dead. Qin Zhen's body was coughing up blood. He kept coughing up blood and even started to crack. His 3 bodies were split apart. It wasn't that 3 people could fight one person. It was because his strength was much weaker and he was suppressed by the Eclipse Immortal King. Zhu Tianfang was also panicking. It wasn't just him. Xia Longwu and Zhou Polong were all roaring madly. For a period of time, they killed the 3 immortal kings, causing them to bleed profusely. However, they were only slightly injured and recovered very quickly. The strategy of the immortal race was to drag it out. Drag it out until Qin Zhen was killed. As long as Qin Zhen was dead, the immortal race would win. If the immortal race won, the possibility of each race killing the immortal race wasn't very high. There was no such thing as a secret. It was fine if they killed humans, but if they killed the immortal race, they had to consider how strong the immortal race was. After they got out, would they be able to stop the pursuit of the immortal race? At this moment, the words of the gods and demons were still ringing in Su Yu's ears, but he turned a deaf ear to them. And at this moment, charming laughter resounded throughout the world. In the next moment, the invincible gods and demons attacked one after another. Boom! The void exploded, and the blue sky exploded one after another. In the distance, there was a blue sky with the appearance of a scholar. He had the air of an immortal, and his white clothes were as white as snow. At this moment it was somewhat complicated, he said softly, it seems like I can't save you, humans, sometimes are really complicated. I already know the ending, so why bother coming? Blue Sky walked out step by step and laughed. He laughed and said mournfully, I want revenge. Rumble. The void trembled. I'm so wronged. Boom boom boom. He once again resonated with old Zhou. Only in this way could he have greater strength. Blue Sky still came out. He could not endure until the end. Meanwhile, Qin Zhen was vomiting blood as he laughed, Lan Tian, you big pervert, why did you come? There were a few unrivaled experts around Lan Tian. At this moment, Ian Tian said aggrievedly, I didn't want to, but I had no choice. My 10,000 avatars were saying, don't go out. However, my human avatars were stunned. He said, go out, don't be afraid. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2663, Chapter 2663, Chapter 568, Qin Spear. 5. Chapter 2663, Chapter 568, Qin Spear. 5. Lan Tian said somewhat crazily, I'm a human. I've never betrayed you. Haven't I? I just want to create my own human race, the human race of my dreams. But I'm still a human race, am I not? Why? Why do you say that I'm a traitor? I'm not, nor am I a heavenly saint. We're humans. We're humans. Qin Zhen, don't you think so? Qin Zhen coughed up blood, yes, we're humans. Aren't you afraid? Aren't you afraid of saying that you're humans? Are you afraid that the 10,000 races won't let us go? But now, how the F***ck do I know? It's useless even if I deny it. The 10,000 races still have to look at their strength. If they're weak, they're just grandsons. It's that simple. A loud bang sounded. Qin Zhen's body was destroyed, and a vessel landed on the ground. Qin Zhen. Xia Longwu shouted in a low voice, his eyes filled with rage. Qin Zhen's remaining two bodies said helplessly, "It's not my fault, it's really not my fault. King, tried my best. I can't defeat him, I have no choice. I'm sorry, I'm very sorry." He looked at the Lunar Eclipse Immortal King and smiled, grimacing in pain. Lunar Eclipse Immortal King's face was cold. "You want to self-destruct? You can't hurt me if you self-destruct. If you self-destruct and draw out the Death Spirit Sovereign, these bystanders will first kill you and teleport out to kill you. Qin Zhen, don't be silly. You don't even have the chance to self-destruct. Even if you self-destruct, it's only outside, not here." Qin Zhen looked around. Invincible figures appeared one after another, all extremely cold. Yes, they proved that what Moon Eclipse Immortal King said was right. What a grievance. Qin Zhen grinned, what a grievance. I'm going to King die. Don't I have the freedom to choose? With one of his three bodies killed, his strength had greatly decreased. At this moment, he was no longer a match for this fellow. He couldn't hold on any longer. In the illusionary heavenly mirror, Su Yu's body slightly trembled. I don't care about him. Whether Qin Zhen died or not had nothing to do with me. I'm not familiar with him. I've only met him a few times. The first time was at the Daming Manor. That forthright man smiled and told him that killing the little fairy was great, but he had to kill her secretly. He told Su Yu that if he went to the Great Qin Manor, he would kill her to her heart's content. He told Su Yu that the Great Qin Manor was #1 in the world. The Great Qin Manor had swept through the heavens. In truth, he really wasn't familiar with it. However, Su Yu remembered clearly that that fellow had told him that the Great Qin Manor didn't have any stocks and had to be killed on the spot. As such, a few days later, Su Yu received some fresh corpses. These were probably a few of the human experts who weren't familiar with Su Yu. However, Su Yu didn't dislike them and felt that they were quite interesting. Qin Town. The lord of the Great Qin residence had fought in the heavens for hundreds of years. He led the Great Qin army, swept through the heavens, and guarded the northern borders. He fought openly and secretly with the immortals, killing countless experts. Today, one of his three bodies had fallen. It was right in front of Su Yu. If you are poor, you should be good to yourself. If you are rich, you should be good to the world. This was what Wan Tianxing had told him. He said, you don't have the ability, so don't interfere. It's not something you should interfere with. Su Yu, did he have the ability? Su Yu did not know. He only knew that he had left behind many methods to seize the nine-leafed sky lotus, and not to help Qin Town. If Qin Town died, so be it. I'll seize my nine-leafed sky lotus. If I seize it, I'll be strong. If I'm strong, I'll do whatever I want. Why bother to expose my trump card for an unfamiliar Qin Town? As Su Yu thought about it, the aura of death rippled slightly. My lord, charge in and disrupt the situation. At this moment, Xing Yue, who was outside Prince Gong's residence, raised her eyebrows slightly. The nine-leafed sky lotus had yet to bloom. When it bloomed, he might have a chance to snatch a piece of it. Su Yu wanted him to charge in now. He didn't want the nine-leafed sky lotus anymore. In that case, it would be easy to expose something. Xing Yue thought about it and didn't think too much about it. She didn't want to analyze it. It was too tiring. In the next moment, Xing Yue sneered and instantly rushed into King Gong's residence. At the same time, Dummy and the other two Death Spirit Lords instantly charged in. The four Death Spirit Lords charged in together. In the king's residence, some of the invincible ones were shocked. Seeing that the humans and the immortals were about to decide the victor, why would these death spirits suddenly charge in? And at this moment, Xing Yu roared, kill the immortals, kill the immortals. Damn it, how dare you provoke me? Boom! A loud boom rang out as Xingyu slammed his palm towards the distant lunar eclipse immortal king. The lunar eclipse immortal king, who was about to kill Qin Zhen's second incarnation, had a look of anger on his face. In the next moment, he roared, "The humans and the dead spirits must be colluding." Definitely. At this moment, he suddenly came to a realization and roared, "Everyone, didn't you see? The humans and the dead spirits must be colluding, there must be." What a coincidence. If it was too much of a coincidence, then it wasn't a coincidence. He was just about to kill Qin Zhen when the other party made a move. Are you telling me that this is a coincidence? Nonsense. At this moment, he wasn't the only one. The other invincible experts also had strange looks in their eyes. The humans and the undead race were really colluding. At this moment, Xing Yu's voice sounded in the head of that invincible expert from the heavenly abyss race, "We are pretending to be on good terms with the humans. First, we will kill the immortals, then we will exterminate the humans. We will merge the humans and the undead race into one. Think of a way to pin down the other races." That invincible of the heavenly abyss clan was a little suspicious. Xing Yu's voice rang out once again, "Don't forget the alliance agreement. The alliance agreement is the foundation." As soon as these words were said, that invincible of the heavenly abyss clan's expression changed slightly. He quickly shouted, "Open the nine-leaf sky lotus. Attack together and move them far away." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2664, Chapter 2664, Chapter 568, Qin Spear. Show subscribe, 6. Chapter 2664, Chapter 568, Qin Spear. Show subscribe, 6. Many unrivaled warriors looked at him. The unrivaled warrior of the Heavenly Abyss clan shouted, "It doesn't matter who is colluding with whom. Don't let the undead destroy the nine-leafed heavenly lotus. They don't need this." As soon as he said that, there was a rumbling sound. In the air, more than 10 unrivaled warriors attacked. All of a sudden, a powerful teleportation power appeared beside the 8 unrivaled warriors. In the blink of an eye, all 8 of them were teleported a distance away. Qin Zhen, who was waiting for the final battle, was slightly stunned. He quickly ran towards Xingyu, who was not far away. F***CK. Who cares? If this undead race wanted to kill the immortals, this daddy will first go and seek help from the undead race. Although there is a higher probability of being killed by this undead race, this daddy will not care. Sooner or later, they will all die. Rather than being killed by the immortals, it would be better to be killed by the undead race. In the illusionary heavenly mirror, Suyu secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He had been exposed. Although he might not have guessed that it was him who had done it, but Xingyue and the others were now exposed. At the very least, they were somewhat invincible. They were somewhat hesitant and would step out to see if she had anything to do with him. I had exposed one of my trump cards, and it was the biggest oneo. Do you regret it? There was one point. I had scolded Qin Town a few thousand times. Idiot, idiot, weakling, trash. He couldn't even defeat one Eclipse Immortal King, so what was there to fight about? If you hadn't taught me that a dead little fairy was very pretty, I wouldn't have bothered with you. I'll remember this. This time, I'll repay you for your words. In the future, you and I won't owe each other anything. If you get killed again, I won't bother with you anymore. At the same time, some people had strange expressions on their faces. The Bloodfire Demon King calmly said, "This undead, was it summoned by the human race, or was it Suyu?" Suyu turned into a half-undead spirit and might be able to communicate with the undead spirit and come to an agreement. Does this mean that he made a move? As the Bloodfire Demon King spoke, he sighed, "He's a natural-born monster. The guardian of the holy city, the ancient god-devouring race, and the undead sovereign. In this world, is there anyone that Suyu can't collude with? Then, he chuckled, see, am I right? Living beings will ultimately consider their race. Even if Suyu, the blue sky, and the 10,000 heavenly saints. They might be disappointed and despairing towards you, but at the last moment, they will still consider the human race. The so-called no longer being human is just a joke. And Ying's expression was complicated. Was it gratified? Or melancholic? Or helpless? Perhaps it was a little of both. Humans were still humans after all. At the last moment, these lunatics all came out and attacked. Blue Sky was like this, Suyu was like this. Aning knew that this undead might be the one who had concluded the agreement with Suyu. Suyu was a capable person. Even undead could be hooked up with him. Unfortunately, he had exposed too much, which also confirmed the intention of others to kill him. Shadow sighed lightly and stepped into the air, walking towards the place where the human immortals were fighting. The Blood Fire Demon King instantly stood in front of him and said indifferently, "Do you want to go too?" "You've already said it. Humans, at the last moment, it's all a joke to say that they're not human." Shadow smiled and said, "Blood Fire, it seems that you really have to fight me." The Blood Fire Demon King looked at him and said after a while, "You are the one who has to fight me. Do you have the confidence, Great Wise King?" "Great Wise King." Aning smiled, "Great Wise King. Old Zhu didn't come. Old Zhu is really here. He won't just stand by and watch when something happens to Qin Town. Only I, who is cold-blooded, will not interfere and disrupt my plan even when my son is about to die." Boom! An earth-shattering explosion reverberated through the heavens and earth. With a boom, the Blood Fire Demon King was sent flying, and blood spilled from his mouth onto the ground. Shadow stood up straight, he calmly said, "That foolish son of mine has always been very foolish. I think that since everyone can sacrifice themselves for me, then me sacrificing my son, is that considered justice? Or is it heartless? Or cold-blooded? I can't die here. I can only appear at the last moment to snatch the 9-leafed sky lotus. Otherwise, I'll be in a lot of trouble. However, I've thought about it again and again, maybe. I'm really not qualified. I'm still selfish when it comes to being the human half-emperor. I'm afraid that my son will really die. I'm sorry, I've let old Zhou and the others down. I can't help it." Boom! A long spear appeared in the sky. At this moment, everyone was stunned. The human race's guardian expert, the great Qin King, he, had come personally. At this moment, the various races of the gods and demons had gone crazy. In the next moment, the Thunder God King roared, kill him. Kill him, and the human race will fall." The unrivaled experts roared madly. The great Qin King was the great Qin King. If they killed the great Qin King, the human race would be finished. There would be no more great Qin King. They could barely unite all the human experts like now. The great Qin King could not be exposed. Yes, just as he said, he could not be exposed. Otherwise, everyone would come to kill him. The great Ming King was fine. This was not the human race's guardian expert, but the great Qin King had a completely different meaning. "Father." In the distance, Qin Zhen was also stunned. "That was my father, not Zhu Tianfang's father." The great Qin dynasty looked over and smiled. Very soon, the smile was a little stiff as they said, "Stupid. I, Qin Guang, actually have such a stupid son. How embarrassing. I thought that if you died, forget it." In the end, someone told me that an outsider and a fellow who said he wasn't human could help you. As your father, am I too cold-blooded? In the distance, Zhu Tianfang and the others' expressions changed. Zhu Tianfang said crazily, I. If you die, what will happen to the human race? At this moment, more than 10 invincible experts of the god and demon race charged at him without a word. Su Yu was a threat to the future. The Great Qin King was the present. If they killed the Great Qin King, the human race would lose the present. How could they talk about the future? This was the greatest treasure of the human race. Without me, the human race would be gone. Without me, the human race would be gone. That human race should have this calamity. The Great Qin King smiled lightly. There will always be someone who can hold up the heavens. This time, I'll have to trouble Brother Zhou and the others. Thank you for your efforts. The long spear swept out, and with a rumble, it pierced through the void. With a poochie sound, the spear pierced through the blood and fire, and with another wave, the long spear instantly appeared in front of a person. It was the Lunar Eclipse Immortal King. The Lunar Eclipse Immortal King's expression changed drastically, but his heart was instantly pierced through by the spear, and the spear swept through the long river of time and space. With a poochie sound, it pierced through the resurrected Lunar Eclipse Immortal King once again. With a boom, the spear swept through the world, and with a bang, it exploded. Blood clouds covered the sky. He was dead. Yes, he was dead. The Great Qin King appeared, and with his spear, he swept through the world with 3 spears, killing the Lunar Eclipse Immortal King at the same time as the others attacked. At this moment, more than 10 invincible experts surrounded him. The Great Qin King revealed a cold smile, killing an opening blade. I haven't killed beasts for a long time. How many of you? Do you want to die? How many of you want to die? In an instant, everyone was terrified. Qin Spear, Great Qin King. How many of you will die if you kill him? P.S. As expected, I'll end the 7th level tomorrow. I'm so awesome, I actually guessed it. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2665, Chapter 2665, Chapter 569 Kill Invincible, L. Chapter 2665, Chapter 569 Kill Invincible, L. How many people wanted to die? No one knew. All they knew was that at this moment, a Death Spirit Sovereign suddenly appeared beside the Great Qin King. The Death Spirit Sovereign had just appeared and was still a little dazed. He stabbed out with his spear, and with a bang, he flicked his spear and sent the other party flying. The Great Qin King said indifferently, the Death Spirit race wants to kill me. Wait for me to finish killing them before coming back. In the distance, the undead sovereign flew through the void and arrived at the borders of Prince Gong's residence. He was still in a daze. Where am I? Oh, right, I'm at the Starry Residence. I came here because of the power of law. Someone killed an invincible creature, but more importantly, where are the undead sovereign lords here? He turned his head to look. Damn, a row of undead sovereign lords were looking at him from the outside. Tuo Fa saw him and felt that he looked familiar. He sent a voice transmission, wait, let them fight. That's the Great Qin King. After the fight, follow the rules. Otherwise, you'll be beaten to death. The undead sovereign, who had come with the power of rules, was once again stunned. He looked at the Great Qin King in the middle and then looked at the invincible side. There were so many of them. And that was the human Great Qin King. Even in the death spirit world, the human sovereign still had some understanding of the 10th title change. The Great Qin King, Qin Guang, was an incredibly powerful existence. The key was, why did Tuo Fa and the others go outside? The death spirit sovereign's mind was going haywire. However, he only had one thought. Killing the Great Qin King was a rule, but he knew that he couldn't kill him. If he couldn't kill him, he would be killed. The stronger death spirit sovereign would come. However, the Great Qin King had sent him flying. There was still a group of unrivaled experts outside the Great Qin King. After all, the Death Spirit Sovereign still had some intelligence. Very quickly, the Death Spirit Sovereign came to an understanding. This was going to be a fight. Very good. A few more unrivaled experts would die, and a few more undead sovereign experts would appear to join forces to kill the great Qin King. Right, that was it. As for how the undead sovereign experts on the outskirts had gotten out, he was curious, but he didn't want to ask too much. He wasn't interested either, but he felt that it was a little strange. He had been teleported here from afar, and this was his first time entering the Starry Palace. His mood suddenly seemed to be quite good. Then, should I take a tour first? The Cosmic Mansion wasn't his territory. He hadn't even seen it before. In the crowd, the Blood Fire Demon King and the Thunder God King appeared one after another. There were 7 demon kings of the demon race and 5 godly kings of the celestial race. There were a total of 12 invincible. On the outer area, the 2 dragon kings of the dragon race had arrived. The heavenly abyss race's invincible had arrived. The dark race's invincible had arrived. 16 invincible. On the outer perimeter, the 4 experts of the Phoenix clan, the Fated clan, the 5 Elements clan, and the Heaven Hunting Pavilion didn't come over. They were all watching from afar, their expressions extremely grave. Was a level 9 eternal being strong? Very strong. This was especially so for the great Qin King, a peak existence that was close to the Deemerge. But now, the 16 invincible beings were surrounding him. Among them, there was 1 level 9 eternal being, 2 level 7 eternal beings, and almost all the other eternal beings were at the middle level of eternal being. The great Qin King could fight 3, 5, or even 7 or 8 of them. Because he was the great Qin King. Even if the Bloodfire Devil King was here, he wouldn't be able to deal with the great Qin King. However, because he was the great Qin King, everyone had come without any hesitation or consideration. Even if Su Yu was here, he wouldn't be able to lure anyone away, because he was the great Qin King. The ocean-pacifying divine needle of the human race. If he was killed, the human race would definitely withdraw from the stage of history in this title change. No matter how strong the great Zhou King and the great Xia King were, it was useless. Compared to the great Qin King, they were still lacking something. The great Qin King might not be able to suppress them by much, but he had his unique charisma. He had been alone in the East Rift Valley for 400 years. With 1 person and 1 spear, he could shake the entire world. This was his charm. The other unrivaled experts took turns to guard the place. The great Qin King was the only one who had never left the heavenly battlefield. From the day he opened it up, he had been guarding this place and fighting against all the powerful enemies in the world. For over 400 years, day and night, he did not sleep or rest. He forcefully pulled the human race up from the cliff and became one of the overlords of the heavens. And he did not become the emperor. But he was the only eternal powerhouse who could suppress the human race. At this moment, the Thunder God King shouted, "The human race's great Qin King has entered the Starry Palace." Are the other races still watching? Are they waiting for the great Qin King to step into the half-emperor realm and destroy all the worlds? Once the human race steps into the immortal soul 3rd level and steps into all the worlds, who can compete with them? The great Qin King had entered, but he had not expected it. The human race was too audacious. Audacious, but it was also filled with endless dangers and risks. This danger was too high, too great. Head of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, what does the Heaven Hunting Pavilion say? Do you think that with the great Qin King around, you will have a chance to snatch the 9-leafed sky lotus? Only by joining forces and killing him will you have hope. Otherwise, no one will have hope. In the distance, the head of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion's Heaven Hunting Pavilion did not speak or move. It was not a good decision. The human race was the public enemy. This was especially true for the human race, which had a half-emperor. This was something that no other race could tolerate. Once a half-emperor appeared, the great Qin king would slaughter his way into the various regions and become an invincible existence. It was not like now. Some of the large half-emperors might not be able to kill the great Qin king in the heavenly battlefield, but once they entered this world, with the enhancement, if the great Qin king dared to come, they would be able to kill him. There was no need to mention the Heavenly Abyss clan and the Netherworld clan, but the Five Elements clan and the Fated clan were also hesitating and did not come immediately. The great Qin king watched silently and waited. He was waiting for the humans and the immortals to establish a stronger advantage. When a godly king wanted to escape and help the immortals, boom! A loud sound rang out. The long spear stabbed out and the void trembled. Killing intent surged into the sky. The godly kings and demon kings roared and attacked together, including the dragon king and the nether king. They all attacked and killed the great Qin king. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2666, Chapter 2666, Chapter 569 Kill Invincible, 2. Chapter 2666, Chapter 569 Kill Invincible, 2. If the great Qin king didn't die, they would all die. Since they had already appeared, there was no peaceful coexistence. Between heaven and earth, the shadow of a long spear swept in all directions. Invincible coldly shouted, "Five Elements race, you can ignore the great Qin king and go kill the other humans. Otherwise. After this, all races will die together. Don't think that if we die, you'll be fine. I've already burned my blood essence and notified the outside world. Everyone knows that the great Qin king has arrived. If the great Qin king doesn't die, you'll still be alive. The celestial, devil, immortal, dragon, and Ming races will all be killed." As soon as these words were said, the Five Elements race and the Fated race's invincible were slightly startled. Their eyes fluctuated, and for a moment, they were extremely hesitant. If they really notified the outside world, even if they worked together to kill the experts of these great races, just as this person said, if they went out, the great Qin king didn't die, they didn't die, and in the end, the celestial and devil races were all dead, then these races would all be in trouble. It would be a huge problem. Could they contact the outside world? Actually, they could. They could burn their blood essence. Before this, someone had done it from the outside to the inside. However, was someone doing it? They didn't know. Perhaps it was a threat, or perhaps it was real. However, at the very least, at this moment, the unrivaled experts of these clans all hesitated and stopped outside. They didn't make a move, nor did they leave. In truth, there was no need for them to interfere. The 16 unrivaled experts were all very powerful. If the great Qin king were to fight one-on-one, even the Blood-Fire Devil King would not be able to stop him. However, if there were 16 of them, the great Qin king would not be able to stop him. If he could fight 16 of them, the human race would already be incomparably powerful. The great Qin king did not make a single sound. He waved his spear, causing the entire area to tremble. Killing intent shook the heavens. Kill! With a roar, the great Qin king knew that this was not the time for him to fight. He had to be fierce, strong, and intimidating in order to have any hope of winning. The great Qin king was astonishingly decisive. At this moment, he forcefully withstood the onslaught of blood, fire, and lightning. He stabbed out with his spear, destroying the passage of time. With a backhand strike, he pierced through a demon king. Pucci. The demon king's 3 bodies collapsed, and his body exploded. He quickly recovered, but his face was filled with shock. The great Qin king grunted and once again withstood the attacks of the others. With an explosive roar, he swung his spear, and with a Pucci sound, he once again pierced through the demon king's body, and his entire body rapidly closed in on the demon king. He punched out, sending a godly king flying, and quickly appeared in front of the demon king. With a roar, he grabbed the demon king with both hands, and with a poochie sound, he directly tore a demon king apart. Blood splattered everywhere. Blood clouds covered the sun. Rumble. The world trembled as the second invincible king died at the hands of the great Qin king. Behind the great Qin king, there was a charred patch. This was the work of the thunder godly king, and a patch of black blood appeared on his arm. This was the blood-fire demon king who had almost cut off his arm. The other places were also filled with injuries. The moment he appeared, it was a life-and-death battle. After all, the powerful great Qin king was not an immortal soul third-level cultivator. Even if he was an immortal soul third-level cultivator, he was not truly invincible. He was only at eternal 9 Dan. However, under the encirclement of 16 unrivaled experts, he quickly killed the second one. How many of you want to die? This cold shout once again resounded through the world and shook the hearts of everyone. The unrivaled experts all had fearful expressions on their faces. In the next moment, they all roared and charged at him once more. Kill, it was death. If they didn't kill, they would die. The appearance of the great Qin king meant that they wouldn't rest until one of them died. There was no turning back. The death of the two unrivaled experts further strengthened everyone's thoughts. They had to kill, they had to kill. At this moment, the humans also had the advantage. Xia Longwu and the others went crazy as they madly charged towards the three immortal kings. They were anxious. Even if they won, the great Qin king would be in trouble. At this moment, the three immortal kings didn't say a word. They weren't angry, and there was nothing else but coldness. The few immortal kings suddenly roared, and their bodies shone with a bright light as their strength increased by 30%. Burning their blood essence. At this moment, the few immortal kings knew that no one else would come to their aid. The great Qin king was their primary target, and they were secondary. As long as they could hold on for a while and kill the great Qin king, any danger would be resolved. They had to delay the few unrivaled humans. The three immortal kings quickly gathered together, and the four humans also quickly joined forces to attack. They wanted to leave, but they couldn't. The moment they left, the three immortal kings quickly erupted and suppressed them. Outside, Xingyu brought a few sovereign lords of the dead spirits. Just as they were about to intervene, the Sky Division leader instantly appeared in front of them and said softly, "The Heaven Hunting Pavilion doesn't care about the battles between the various races. The dead spirits, don't interfere." Xingyu was furious and roared, "Kill!" A few undead lords quickly charged towards him. As for the Sky Division leader, he easily fought against 4 of them. The great Qin king's realm was about the same as his, and was about the same as the Blood-Fire Demon King. Even if he wasn't a match for the great Qin king, he wasn't much weaker. What could 4 undead lords do to him? On the great Qin king's side, there weren't 16 invincible undead lords anymore. One of them died, but another undead lord appeared. This time, the great Qin king didn't have the chance to send him flying. The other party was mixed in with the crowd and was still in a daze. The undead sovereign from before had suddenly charged over and quickly told him something. The 2 undead sovereign kings didn't attack the invincible kings of the other races. Instead, they were at the periphery. They had been keeping an eye on the great Qin king. The rules told them that if they wanted to kill the great Qin king, they had to kill him. Therefore, they were waiting for an opportunity. Even if the great Qin king killed 16 invincible kings, it would be useless. Soon, 16 powerful undead kings would come to kill him with orders and rules. A fierce battle. A bloody battle. A long spear pierced through heaven and earth, and the spear was stained with blood. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2667, Chapter 2667, Chapter 569 Kill the Invincible, 3. Chapter 2667, Chapter 569 Kill the Invincible, 3. The great Qin King's long hair danced in the wind, and his body gradually became covered in blood. His spear once again shot out, and with a kacha sound, the void shattered. A godly king's 3 bodies were split apart, and his body was pierced through. However, he quickly retreated. The others quickly filled in the gaps, and in the blink of an eye, 7 or 8 injuries appeared on the great Qin King's body. Father! On the other side, Qin Zhen roared in anger and madness. However, he was too weak. He couldn't leave either. One of his 3 bodies had fallen, and the other 2 were also heavily injured. Actually, at this moment, they weren't of much use. The 3 immortal kings were also fighting with their lives on the line, so how could they kill them quickly? In a situation where the difference in levels wasn't too big, killing an invincible was difficult. And on Blue Sky's side, they were also stopped by one person. Heavenly Curse. That's right, the Heavenly Curse of the Heavenly Abyss clan. At the outer perimeter, a few quasi-unrivaled experts who were unrivaled in battle, including some vicious beasts like September, were unrivaled in battle. They could even smell the fragrance of the fragrance. They wanted to kill the immortals for a meal, but right now, they didn't make a move. This was because they couldn't make a move. They could be free and unfettered. They could even kill an immortal king. It wasn't a big deal. Not now. Right now, the life and death of dozens of unrivaled experts had been decided. If they interfered and caused the various races to fail, once the news spread, the ancient race would definitely be exterminated. The foundations of the several powerful races were not something they could compare to. Up until now, the major races like the gods, demons, and immortals had not used all their trump cards. The humans did not know, but the ancient race knew. Furthermore, the humans were too strong, and it did not serve the interests of the various races. They could not attack. They endured and held back. They also did not want to fight with the humans. However, even if they wanted to kill now, they would not attack the other clans. There was no such thing as an impenetrable wall. As long as one person from each clan survived, as long as the news leaked out, the Iron Eater clan and the ancient Ho clan would not be able to stop the attacks of the major clans. If they could not kill the humans, how could they exterminate the ancient clans? Normally, one just couldn't be bothered to care about it. In the end, the heavens and this era were still their world. September stopped eating and silently looked over. Sky Devouring was also lying in the void, silently watching. In the distance, Kong Kong's eyes flickered, not daring to get close. The great Qin King had come personally. This was also something that no one had expected. Powerful and savage. 2 unrivaled figures had fallen so quickly. However, the great Qin King could not hold on. 16 unrivaled experts. Including the immortals, there were actually 20. Of course, now that 2 had been killed, there were still 18 unrivaled experts left. The Frost God King was also participating in the battle. In the illusionary sky mirror, Suyu had long since woken up. At this moment, he was also extremely shaken. The great Qin King had come. Why had he come? How could he have come? Suyu was too complicated, so he could not come. The great Qin King was different from the other invincible ones. Suyu ate alone and his entire family was not hungry. Xia Longwu and the others were not able to stabilize the situation. It was not unusual for the great Zhou King and the others to come. They were all powerful, but if they died, the human race would grieve and not despair. However, once the great Qin King, who had been guarding the human race's borders for more than 400 years, died, the surrender faction and the peace plea faction would quickly reappear. No one could suppress them. Even if they were powerful, they could not suppress the thoughts of those people. The great Qin king was already dead. Unless one became an emperor or an expert of the way of the unity, they would not be able to suppress the unrest of the human race. They shouldn't have come. Su Yu did not know what to say. He thought, perhaps, the great Qin king wanted to enter and devour the 9-leaf sky lotus on the spot. In that case, he would become a half-emperor, and it would not be a big deal if he went out. The others, including the great Zhou king and the others, could only use it for themselves. They couldn't bring it out, or it could be said that it would be very difficult to bring it out, because those fellows outside would also stop them. It would be fine if the gods and fiend celestials took it, but if the others took it, they could only consume it in-house. That was why the great Qin king had come. Su Yu sighed in his heart. He didn't know if the great Qin king's choice was right or wrong. Also, the great Qin king could have not made a move earlier. He could have waited for the 9-leaf sky lotus to open before making a move to snatch it, but now, it was too early. There was still an hour before the opening of the 9-leafed sky lotus. An hour was enough to decide the outcome of the battle. It was too early. The leader of the human race didn't even have this bit of patience. Didn't he even have this view of the big picture? He didn't know how to endure at all. Idiot. Endure for a while. When it opens, with your strength, who can compete with you when you're caught off guard? Who is qualified to compete with you? Su Yu was full of complaints. He was too impatient. He was complaining, but his emotions were fluctuating. The great Qin king still chose not to bear with it. This was not in line with the style of the leader, but, it seemed to be, more flesh and blood. When the human race was at a disadvantage, when the undead appeared, and when the various races had some strange movements, he finally made his move. He didn't choose the moment when the 9-leafed heavenly lotus bloomed. Choosing to make his move early meant that he had given up on the 9-leafed heavenly lotus and chosen Xia Longwu and the others. He had chosen Lan Tian and the others. If he couldn't become a Tao-establishing half-emperor, then they would live and die together and kill to their heart's content. He was too impulsive. Boom! An explosion woke Su Yu up. He looked outside and saw that the godly monarchs were all vomiting blood and the demon monarchs were all roaring angrily. There was only one person in front of him. The great Qin king. His blood was stained with grace. At this moment, the great Qin king was covered in blood and there was a person hanging on the tip of the spear. The tip of the spear exploded with a bright light and with a boom. It exploded. This was the last incarnation of the enemy. 3 bodies had fallen. Rumble. Blood clouds gathered and the third invincible was killed by the celestials. At this point, one of the celestials, fiend celestials, and celestials had been killed and the third undead sovereign had appeared. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2668, Chapter 2668, Chapter 569 Kill the Invincible, 4. Chapter 2668, Chapter 569 Kill the Invincible, 4. As for the great Qin king, there was a knife mark on his forehead, and blood was flowing everywhere. He was unable to heal, and someone had stabbed him in the forehead, almost cutting off his head. 3. A stiff smile appeared on the great Qin king's face. 3. How many could he kill? He didn't know. At this moment, there were 14 invincible existences and 3 great undead existences around him. There were many enemies. However, he didn't care about the undead. He also didn't kill the undead. There was no point in killing them. At this moment, the undead sovereign said coldly, "Great Qin king, give us a corresponding price and a corresponding treasure. It's useful to the undead race. We can leave." The great Qin king ignored him. He didn't. Not to mention him, even Su Yu didn't have it. No. Suyu had a life and death fruit. This could be given out and allow an undead sovereign to leave. However, it didn't have much meaning. As for the Blood Fire Devil King, he was also injured, but it was much lighter than the Great Qin King. At this moment, he said coldly, Death Spirit. Monarchs, you all have wisdom. The Great Qin King is difficult to deal with. Join forces and kill him. You all complete the mission and receive the rewards. We complete our goal and defeat the human race. It's a win-win situation. Join forces. Otherwise, who knew how many people would die this time? The Great Qin King was too ferocious. Although his injuries were heavy, he was still at his peak. If this continued, it would be difficult to kill him even if 7 or 8 invincible ones did not die. The gods and devils did not disperse either. There was no point in them dissipating. In this place, the most dangerous thing was to disperse and be destroyed by the Great Qin King one by one. At the level of being unrivaled, he still had this bit of wisdom. The only way was to kill. To determine life and death, to determine victory and defeat. I'm injured. Suyu looked at the Great Qin King. The most serious injury was not the knife scar on his forehead, but the flaming blood palm on his chest. It was left behind by the Blood and Fire Devil King. It was burning his qi and blood, his vital qi, and his body. Although the Great Qin King was strong, there were so many undefeatable beings here. In the outer area, Blue Sky's shrill cries continued, and the heavenly curse kept retreating, but it was unable to completely crush the other party. Star Moon and the others were stopped by the head of the Sky Division. Suyu's eyes turned cold. On the other side, Qin Zhen and the others were going crazy, but the 3 immortal kings were also going crazy, burning their blood essence and fighting with them. Suyu didn't look at them anymore. He looked again and soon found a sun and moon undead spirit in the outer area. There was the aura of death from the stars and moon. The invincible blood essence was on this undead spirit. But, could he swallow it now? Maybe. I can take the opportunity to kill an invincible spirit and get a reward. After completing the 3 transformations, one can go and swallow the invincible blood essence. After the 3 transformations, his physical strength would reach 5.8 million, and his young aperture would open up to more than 10 million. At that time, would he be able to devour the invincible essence blood? Even if he couldn't, he would definitely have the strength to become invincible. Kill the invincible, the 3 transformations, even the support won't work. Yes, the Heavenly Abyss clan is invincible. After killing him, I can obtain the complete reward. As long as the complete reward was reliable, he could definitely get the 3 transformations. In addition, there was also Old Zhou. Yes, Old Zhou. The Frost God King is already in the middle of a fierce battle, so he has no time to care about me. First, I'll seize control of the illusory heavenly mirror and deceive his perception. Then, I'll capture Saint Yu and the others, but not kill them. I'll be ready to kill my way out at any time. Suyu quickly calculated. Was it worth it? I don't know. Who cares? Human. I have no feelings for humans. However, I hope that my father will have a stable backer. I hope that my teachers will have someone to protect them. I hope that I can still see that Qin spear in the East Rift Valley. Perhaps, I'm wrong. However, I feel that I should do it. After living for a lifetime, isn't it because I have a clear conscience and a stable heart? At that moment, Suyu made a decision. A drop of quasi-invincible blood essence silently fell into his stomach. The 109 golden patterns were quickly covered by his willpower. Not far away, a strand of the frozen godly monarch's willpower was quickly blocked by Suyu. Normally, it wouldn't work, but now, the frozen godly monarch was completely focused on the Great Qin King, so he didn't dare to be negligent. This was an opportunity. Perhaps his appearance would not change anything, but there were some things that Suyu should do. In an instant, Suyu blocked the frozen godly monarch's perception. As for Yu Sheng, he knew nothing. He was not a weapon-forging master. He had never thought, or even considered, that the frozen godly monarch was still alive and that his weapon would be taken by someone else. Zhan Wushuang, who was watching the battle, looked around. There was something strange, but he did not know what had happened. As for Suyu, he was still waiting. He was creating an opportunity. At this moment, the Frost God King was attacked. With a rumble, the entire illusionary heaven mirror trembled. Even though the others had sealed their six senses, such intense trembling woke them up. Some opened their eyes in a daze, while others cried out in shock. As for Suyu, his face was also filled with fear. Suddenly, he screamed, "Look, what is that?" At this moment, everyone followed his line of sight and looked in one direction. There seemed to be some spatial cracks over there. The illusionary sky mirror seemed to be about to shatter. Saint Yu was shocked. This crack was not far away from Suyu. Saint Yu quickly flew over and shouted, "Don't panic, it's just a small matter. Let me take a look, I'll take care of it right away." He quickly flew over to Suyu's side. He also saw the crack. It was not too big, he could take care of it. Zhan Wushuang was about to fly over when suddenly, his eyes changed. Crisis. That vague sense of crisis made his scalp tingle. It was very weak, but it was very obvious. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2669, Chapter 2669, Chapter 569 Kill Invincible, 5. Chapter 2669, Chapter 569 Kill Invincible, 5. That was a huge crisis. Sir. With a low shout, Yu Sheng hurriedly turned around. Suyu, on the other hand, smiled. Thank you, Zhan Wushuang, you are indeed my good partner. He even specially shouted to divert the other party's attention. Thank you for 8 generations of ancestors. Zhan Wushuang realized that he had made a mistake with his shout, and his expression changed drastically. It was too late. Puchi. With a loud sound, Suyu punched out and smashed Yu Sheng's head. Caught off guard. Yes, Yu Sheng was caught off guard. He had never thought that he would be in danger here. It had always been like this. Zhan Wushuang had reminded him many times, but he felt that he was making a mountain out of a molehill. At this moment, he had suffered. Suyu threw a punch. This punch was a true quasi-invincible power. Young Ark was not weaker than him. If he was hit in the head by someone's punch without any preparation, even his iron head would explode. 3 bodies had fallen. In reality, Yu Sheng only had 2 bodies. The past and the present were destroyed by Suyu's punch. In the next moment, a weak past body appeared. As for Suyu, his huge palm struck out, and a loud boom rang out, the past body shattered, and a vessel appeared. Suyu casually grabbed it, but his sea of consciousness didn't shatter. An incomparably huge book blotted out the sky and covered the sun, instantly covering everyone. The page that belonged to the Celestials instantly swallowed Yu Sheng's sea of consciousness, but it didn't swallow it, instead, it suppressed it. All of this happened too fast, too fast. It was so fast that they could only see Zhan Wushuang shouting. Then, a book appeared and covered everyone. Zhan Wushuang's face changed. He was a bit desperate and helpless. Elle knew it. It's not here, it's in the Celestials. In fact, it was more likely to be in the Celestials. After all, there weren't many geniuses in the Celestials. Suyu could imagine that the Celestials would probably wipe out all the Celestials in order to find him. It wasn't impossible. Only the Celestial race had many geniuses. Invincible could not bear to kill them. He could not kill them at will either. After all, there were still many invincible descendants. Su Yu ignored them. Countless sun and moon phantoms appeared and swallowed all the celestials. If they were not killed, the undead would appear. This was not good. He was suppressing them all. There were a few late-stage sun and moon existences. Su Yu had already stepped into the air. One punch, one punch, one punch. He had really beaten them until they were unable to retaliate. Zhan Wushuang took a look, took a deep breath, and did not make a move. He looked at Su Yu. If we surrender, can we leave everyone alive? You don't have the right to bargain. Su Yu looked at him. Even if Zhan Wushuang had borrowed the invincible essence blood, Su Yu was not afraid of him. Maudwa had borrowed the Demon Emperor essence blood, but he was only barely able to delay quasi-invincible. Moreover, Zhan Wushuang had not taken the heavenly ancient essence blood. Zhan Wushuang said bitterly, No, but, killing us won't be of much use to you. Instead, you will be exposed, perhaps you can use everyone to do something, hoping that you can keep them alive. Su Yu did not say anything else and said calmly, Are you going to enter my book and be suppressed by me, or do you want me to destroy your body again and suppress your sea of consciousness? He did not have the mood to say anything more. Zhan Wushuang looked at the sky. The great Qin king had vomited blood. He could not hold on any longer. There were too many people. He knew why Su Yu had activated it at this moment. It was because Su Yu could not wait any longer. Zhan Wushuang sighed and did not say anything more. He stepped into the air and entered the floating Mingji. He was quickly suppressed by more than 10 sun and moon phantoms. Su Yu kept the book, and there was no one else in the illusionary heaven mirror. The civilization will trembled slightly. There were too many things being suppressed. Su Yu stood silently in the illusionary heaven mirror. He was still waiting. Waiting for a chance. Waiting for the great Qin king to make a move against the ice-sealing divine king. He opened the tombstone and his sea of consciousness. Kill the ice ceiling, great Qin king, kill the ice ceiling. Kill the ice ceiling. At this moment, in the outside world, the great Qin king spat out blood. His vital energy had been depleted to the maximum, and the time passageway was starting to become unstable. A weak voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Kill the frozen godly monarch. The frozen godly monarch felt his heart palpitate. Who was talking about him? Yes, even though Su Yu had used the divine art to silently freeze the frozen godly monarch, the other party was invincible after all. He could sense danger, so Su Yu continued to talk about it in his weapon and opened his sea of consciousness. To an invincible person, he could sense it. Kill the ice seal. Great Qin king. At this moment, the great Qin king smiled, and his smile was not as stiff as before. Humans were always like that. He said that he was no longer a human, so what did race have to do with him? However, at the crucial moment, each and every one of them still could not control themselves. They still came, appeared. Blue sky, Su Yu, 10,000 heavenly saints. There were too many people like this. 10,000 heavenly saints taught Su Yu to mind his own business. He might teach others, but he couldn't control himself. Thus, there was the human sinner, 10,000 heavenly saints. Kill the ice seal. The great Qin king suddenly laughed and shouted, causing the sky and earth to change color. Break the sky. With a shout, a long spear streaked across the sky and earth. This spear's target was the ice seal divine king. The frozen godly monarch didn't have time to think about anything else. Which unrivaled expert would dare to think about anything else while the great Qin king was charging over? No. Stop him. The frozen godly monarch roared. At this moment, the blood fire demon king, the thunder godly monarch, and the others all attacked. The demons directly charged towards the back of the great Qin king, while the celestials attacked his long spear. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2670, Chapter 2670, Chapter 569 Kill the Invincible, 6. Chapter 2670, Chapter 569 Kill the Invincible, 6. The demon race wanted to take this opportunity to heavily injure the great Qin king, but the celestial race did not want their own race's invincible to perish. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion sounded out. This spear instantly pierced through the obstruction of a few godly monarchs and pierced through the icebound godly monarch's head. With a poochie sound, his body exploded. At this moment, the great Qin king was knocked back a few steps by the blood and fire demon king's punch. His back was directly penetrated, revealing his ghastly white bones. The great Qin king wanted to use his spear again, ignoring everything else. Since that brat wanted him to kill Icebound, he would kill Icebound to show him how powerful Qin's spear was. Just as he was about to use his second spear, a loud boom rang out. A mirror on the Icebound godly king's body exploded. A heavenly weapon exploded. The newly awakened icebound godly king's body exploded. As soon as the third body appeared, a figure appeared. Kill! Die! Su Yu shouted sternly as he exerted all of his strength. Taking advantage of the instant when the other party's two bodies fell and were severely injured, he executed the heaven-cleaving saber with the heaven-revolving technique. His 360 yuan acupoint was like a blazing sun, and his yang acupoint was fully opened. He struck out with his palm-shaped saber. This was also Su Yu's most powerful saber strike. With the augmentation of divine inscriptions, he used all of his strength, and his blood essence was even burning. Boom! Although this strike was not as powerful as the Qin spear, it was still as dazzling as the heavens and earth. In the distance, Xiao Longwu's saber resonated and trembled. Poochie! The hand saber slashed down. Su Yu did not even turn his head and quickly escaped. The Frost God King had already been injured and was hiding at the back. Now that Su Yu had killed someone, he quickly escaped. Around him, there were unrivaled experts who wanted to attack, but they were intimidated by the great Qin king's spear chi. They did not dare to leave rashly and could only watch as Su Yu killed the frozen third body with a single slash. Bang! The third body exploded. Blood clouds covered the entire seventh layer, covering heaven and earth. The frozen godly monarch was killed. An undead sovereign appeared, and at the same time, a golden cloud appeared above Su Yu's head. It was incredibly weak. It's you. It's him. At this moment, sounds of shock could be heard from all directions. Today, the fifth invincible cultivator who had fallen. The dead spirit and blue sky had killed one, the great Qin king had killed three, and the last one wasn't killed by anyone else, but Su Yu. Of course, he had picked up on the opportunity, and just like blue sky, he had only picked up on the opportunity to explode his divine weapon and destroy the second body of the other party. In an instant, he had killed the third body of the great Qin king. But this was probably the youngest and weakest cultivator since ancient times, invincible in reverse. He had succeeded. The blood clouds gathered into a rain. At this moment, no matter if it was the humans or the myriad races, they were all shocked beyond words. Su Yu, this demon, was really here. Not only was he here, he had also killed an invincible cultivator. It was unimaginable and unbelievable. The great Qin king was also surprised. In his surprise, he suddenly laughed maniacally. Good, good, good. His laughter was not as stiff as before, and it was a little helpless. It was over. This stupid brat had still come out. Even though he had killed the ice seal, the situation was not much better. Also, an undead sovereign was extremely excited and rushed towards Su Yu. This new undead sovereign saw the abnormal situation the moment he arrived, and very quickly, the first three companions told him what had happened, and then this new sovereign became excited. They want to kill the great Qin king, and my mission is to kill this little guy. It's 2F** king comfortable. Awesome. In the distance, Su Yu's expression was indifferent as he absorbed the rewards from heaven and earth. As for that undead sovereign, he'd have to fool him first. Wasn't the fruit of life and death on him? Of course, it may not be given to him. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2671, Chapter 2671, Chapter 570, Complicated Situation L. Chapter 2671, Chapter 570, Complicated Situation L. 3 of the unrivaled experts who had surrounded and killed the great Qin king had died. There were 2 godly kings and 1 demon king. At this point, there were still 13 unrivaled experts around the great Qin king, and 3 immortal experts around Xia Longwu and the others. 5 unrivaled experts had died today. At this point, Su Yu, Lan Tian, and the great Qin king appeared one after another. Su Yu was the pinnacle of the 3 generations of human experts. In this generation, Su Yu was unrivaled. In the distance, Su Yu's expression was cold. He looked around and said coldly, "How can this be called unrivaled? Provocation. Arrogance. Extreme arrogance." At this moment, Su Yu's body was absorbing the golden law energy. To an unrivaled expert, these things might not be of much use. The main reason was that their effects were different, but to Su Yu, they were still of great use. There was a benefit to absorbing the heaven and earth's reward. The faster one digested and absorbed, the higher one's cultivation realm would be. At this moment, Su Yu didn't care about these things. In the distance, a sovereign of the dead spirit was charging at him. Further away, Xing Yu cursed silently. Fortunately, she didn't make a move. At this moment, she was confronting the other dead spirits and the head of the Sky Division, so she didn't make a move. Otherwise, if she were to be sucked in by Su Yu, she would be easily destroyed during the battle. Monster Su Yu. No matter how many unexpected factors there were, no matter how many schemes there were, Su Yu personally killed an invincible. This was a fact, and everyone had seen it. This was not using others to kill an invincible, but Su Yu himself. The great Qin king had killed 1 avatar, and Su Yu had killed 2 avatars. A group of invincible roared in anger. 5 godly kings and 5 immortal kings had fallen, and now, 2 of them had fallen. The immortal and celestial races only had 3 invincible kings left, and the demon race had 7. There were 6 left, and the losses were minimal. Out of the 3 races, 12 were invincible. As for the dragon race, the dark race, and the heavenly abyss race, there were 4. This was the current situation. If the great Qin king was unharmed, he could still fight. However, the great Qin king's losses were too great. His injuries were too severe. He couldn't take it anymore after killing so many invincible kings. He could still kill, but if he killed again, he would have to exchange his life for it. "Why are you calling me grandpa?" Su Yu sneered, "A bunch of trash, don't you have to thank me this time? If it wasn't for me, how could you have fought so smoothly alone? I have cleaned up a lot of trash for you." As soon as he said this, someone's expression changed. Thunder God King shouted, "Did you kill Wushuang and the others?" "Not really." Su Yu said calmly, "The God race has withdrawn. I promise that this time, I will not make things difficult for the God race. I will do this, and so will the rest of the human race. If the human race does not keep their promise, one, Su Yu, will betray the human race and not be done with the human race. This is my promise, how about it? If you withdraw, I will let Zhang Wushuang and the others go." "You are delusional." Thunder God King shouted coldly, "Su Yu, you are dreaming. You are so stubborn. Suyu said coldly, "Thunder, you trash, I want to see how many of you are prepared to die." There were still 16 invincible state enemies. This did not include the dead souls, nor did it include the 5 elements race. The head of the Sky Division, Suyu, didn't look at him. The other party had stopped the undead, so Suyu didn't know what he meant. In short, this guy wasn't a good person either. "Suyu, you're dead." The Thunder God King coldly shouted, "Kill." Boom. The one he killed was the Great Qin King. The Great Qin King was already heavily injured. If he didn't kill him and was restrained by Suyu, he would be an idiot. If he killed the Great Qin King, no human would be able to survive. On Suyu's side, the undead would naturally deal with him. On Suyu's side, the undead sovereign had indeed arrived. As for Suyu, he shouted, "He too, help me deal with him." Outside the city, he too was stunned. "I know you're Suyu, but aren't you too King arrogant? Why should I help you? Just because you beat me up? Bullsh T. He too couldn't be bothered with him. At this moment, Suyu sent a voice transmission, "He too, don't you want to freely enter and exit the living realm all the time? Are there 360 stars revolving where you came from? Do you think you can enter again next time? It's impossible. But I will. I know how to enter. Also, if you and I work together, we might be able to think of a way to let you enter and exit Hongmeng City." He too couldn't be bothered with him. Who would be to pay attention to him? "He too, do you want to be resurrected? To become a real living person, We'll give you a chance. You can reverse the aura of death, right? If you still have your memories, then you should know that when I am strong to a certain extent and my life and death are reversed, I might be able to resurrect you. In the past, didn't you consider this matter? Now, in all the worlds in the universe, the only one who has opened the 360 yuan aperture is me, Suyu, and only I know the method to reverse the aura of death. Perhaps you can too, but now that you are dead, can you reverse the aura of death?" He too was shocked. Outsiders might not understand, but outsiders would not. He knew it. Yes, he knew it. He knew the method to reverse the flow of the primordial aperture. This was the key to opening the path of the undead back then. It was the key to leading the undead to conquer the heavens. He had opened the 360 primordial aperture, so he knew it. But other than him, no one else knew it. No, now he had it. Suyu. Resurrect? Yes, he knew that it was possible. Back then, he too had actually tried, but it was fraught with danger. He had failed several times, but failure did not mean that he could not do it. He too had such memories. He too, in all the worlds, you know me the best. Others don't, but you and I are the same kind of people. If I say that I can resurrect, others won't believe me. Do you believe me? Suyu didn't care about the undead sovereign behind him. He looked at He Tuesday. He was gambling that he too wanted to be resurrected.